We're recording too. We're good. We're huge. We're huge. We're huge.
Should I have the mic off when I'm not talking?
If you want.
I mean,
No, I'm just gonna leave it on the whole time.
okay. I usually mute it when we go to like if I stand up to go to the bathroom or anything.
Oh, okay.
We are live, so at least I can double check to make sure. So
Oh yeah. Also, send me that link.
Okay.
Yeah, when you get that rolling, send me that
yes,
link.
it is live. So we are live. Poggers, we're back.
All right, ladies and germs. After a very long.
Link is set. There you go, Ethan.
All right. We're gonna have to cut this intro down.
What?
We have to cut this intro down.
Well, of course. I mean, or we don't. I mean, either way. I mean.
After a long hiatus.
The long hiatus, an extremely long hiatus, because of we started filming.
Whoa, we gotta go back. We gotta go back.
We gotta go back before that.
It's been a long hiatus, all right?
I guess it has.
So first off, as you can see, we have a new couch.
Oh yeah, the last time we did this, we had a different couch.
So there's a variety of reasons for this. Peyton is no longer regaled to the couch and/or his parents' dungeon.
I am moved out.
He
Yes.
lives with me now. He no longer is crashing on the couch. So now we have to interview other people that crash on the couch. The new couch,
Me.
aka Nate. Last name still exempt.
Yeah.
Fucking.
Oh yeah, no last
Nate-
names. No last names. No last names.
Nate is my old roommate that used to live with me in the old house. And
Yeah.
you used to crash on this couch.
Dude, that's what I was gonna say. Not only could you have, like, I love the name Crashin' on the Couch for a podcast, but it's so fitting because I've literally crashed on this couch and the couch beforehand
Yeah.
several times.
Well, what's
And
great is the
so-
logo he made. 'Cause
Yeah.
The logo is
I,
actually
I
pretty,
put in zero.
sick.
I tried to put as minimal effort into that logo as possible.
and it's amazing. And the best part is that it's extremely
Google search,
pixelated.
Google Images.
Yeah. Well, the best part is that it's extremely pixelated too.
I hope
Yeah,
that's not
yeah.
copyrighted. Oh well. Oops.
Too late. Now. Oops. Oops.
Also, Peyton crashed on me and Nate's old couch at the old house a bunch of times too.
Yep.
Yeah.
Full circle.
We also have a whole bunch of we're backlogged on podcasts that we haven't uploaded yet, and so there's gonna be like a whole bunch of, besides this one, a whole bunch more coming out this week that we recorded during our like 9-month hiatus since the last time we did one of these. But we're gonna hopefully be doing this more regularly now that Peyton isn't regaled to the couch.
Correct.
Anyways, there's something else. Oh, so yeah, beyond Corona, moving people in and out of houses, we also did a feature film over the time that we haven't been doing episodes. That's you guys know we talk a lot about movies here. That's because, as we've said before, myself, me, and a couple other people that have come on have background in filmmaking. Peyton is also done a lot of filmmaking. So part of the reason we weren't doing podcasts is because I was busy producing a feature, independent feature. Peyton was busy working and briefly acting in it.
I did have a part in that movie. I forget actually that I have a part in that movie.
It's a pretty funny part. It's
It
a
is.
lot of lulls in that bit.
I wanted to see that rough cut. I still have no idea what it's about.
It's not really a rough cut. It's not a rough cut. It's an assembly cut. So when we have a rough cut, I'll show that to you.
Okay.
'Cause it's gonna make a little more sense. We also have a lot of ADR, additional dialogue recording, to do.
Okay.
It's kind of a touch. I don't want to talk about it.
All right. Moving on.
So,
I wasn't there for a good amount of it. Let's just say that.
yeah, it's just not. Anyways, but yeah, the film will be coming out this coming summer. I'll be giving you guys some more details about that whenever the time comes, I guess. Uh, this this podcast has always been more of just a side hustle for us. So that's what we're doing in our actual like mainstream lives. But today, so summer of 2020 was pretty crazy. A lot of wild shit. I think 2020 was pretty insane for everyone. We could recap on that, or we could not. Doesn't really matter. Uh, we could recap on that. I don't really care. If you guys want to do that, we can. The main point of tonight is we're talking about Game of Thrones because that was the show that me and Peyton watched during our time in, you know, well, nothing is open yet. Still, the the clubs are still closed. That's what matters.
The
So-
clubs and bars are closed.
Yeah.
Can't go out and dance all night drunk off our asses.
So
And it
Darn.
sucks ass.
me and Peyton were filling our time that otherwise would have been filled with drinking and general debauchery with Game of Thrones. So simulated drinking, well, not simulated drinking, but simulated debauchery, right? That's
Amen.
mine. No, it's
No,
not.
No, it's
Shit.
not.
Mine.
This is mine.
Shit.
He definitely took a sip of that.
You ass. Oh, fuck. Do we meme about not being 6 feet apart?
Nah. Dude, how would they know? They ain't gonna watch the video feed. They're just gonna listen to it. Well, some of the people.
Oh, true.
We say they like we actually have viewers.
Yeah, it's fun. It's just fun to do that.
But anyways, yeah, Nate is my old roommate who was originally the person that introduced me to Game of Thrones, and then so he's a huge fan.
Huge fan. So
Has the board game.
how did you come to Game of Thrones?
Me?
Yeah.
I mean, I just knew about it, and I was just like, fuck it. Like, I got nothing else to do, so I might as well
Right.
start watching it. So,
Mine was very, very early on because I know when I got you on the show, we were living together and it was pretty much done. I mean, the 8th season wasn't finished yet, but
It was season 7, yeah. Season 8 was like the end of like when our release was ending is when
Okay.
it came out.
okay. Yeah, so when I first came to it, it was definitely mainstream entertainment, but it wasn't anywhere near as popular as it became. My brother actually got me into it, and coming from Lord of the Rings and Star Wars and all the major films, he's like, Nathaniel, you love Lord of the Rings. You gotta watch this show. You gotta watch it. I mean, he tried for years, and I finally broke. I was like, all right, I'll just watch the first season and see where it goes from there. I don't really care for TV shows. I'm a huge movie buff, and it grabbed me immediately. It's very, very similar to Lord of the Rings in a lot of similar ways. But yeah, just the gravity of pulling me in immediately from season 1, and then there wasn't a sit down where I could watch any less than like 3 episodes. Like, I was just addicted to it. Like, I remember I started watching right at the beginning, I think, of the beginning of the 4th season, and got to the 3rd season, and I remember I had the flu, and I was really, really sick one day, and my brother and I binged the entire 3rd season in one day, and I mean, we'll get into the Red Wedding and what occurs on the 3rd. We're not gonna like full spoilers, right? Like,
oh yeah,
Okay.
full
Oh, yeah,
spoilers.
it's
but
been
we'll
out
wait.
for a number of years.
I
We'll
was
wait a
gonna
little
say,
bit.
'cause
But we'll wait a little bit to give.
Thank you
people
for
warning.
giving the spoiler warning.
Yeah.
I
There's
haven't done this in a
no
while. I
way we
would've
can
forgotten.
talk about
Because it did just like it did finish 2019 or 2020.
2019. Yeah.
2019. So it's still like there probably is a decent amount of people who still have yet to watch it yet because they're waiting for the prices to
What
go
are you
down.
waiting for?
The prices to go down.
I mean, the DVDs aren't that expensive. I mean, if you're buying Blu-ray, sure, but none of those DVDs
Well,
are
the
that
DVD
expensive.
collection is like almost $200 for the regular DVD.
For all 8, yeah. That's
Like the
But-
DVD collection.
Okay, but like when we each bought them individually, it didn't total even
exactly.
close to 100. to
Yeah, but
200.
people will want to just buy the set.
Yeah, I mean,
So,
of
anyway,
course.
well, I guess this is a good segue into the first question that I had to ask was, do you have? Because you start how early on? Like you started watching it season 2 or 1? Do you remember? Like when it was like you were still watching it when it was airing.
Correct. Yeah,
Okay.
they were. I guess they were in the middle of season 3 because I immediately started reading the books after I watched the first season.
Okay, so you actually got into it like from I would even say like from the beginning. So I started wondering how on earth did this reach mass audience because this was before Netflix was huge.
Yeah.
This is before Netflix. So like paying a subscription to something wasn't a thing. It wasn't a mainstream thing yet. Like it wasn't something that just like everyone had at the time.
Right.
So like everyone had cable, but HBO was a premium service that you had to go out of your way to purchase. So how like do you have any theories on how it reached mass audience like just in general? Like how did the show get like do you have any theory on like how it could have become so like big or anything or when or I guess if you can't answer that, when did it reach its like peak? Like when did it really blow up? I guess I should ask.
Yeah. So I'll answer kind of in 2 parts. I think
Okay.
the market being the TV show, hadn't seen something like this ever before. Like Lord of the Rings on the scale of a TV show. And so when it hit, it just caught like wildfire. And I mean, I know you know, but most people know that it's the most pirated TV show of all time. I think Mandalorian actually just broke it. But
Really?
yeah, I think so.
Yeah, really?
Not Witcher?
I think
Well, I mean, Witcher's
either
on
an
Netflix.
episode
Why
or-
would you pirate something on Netflix?
Huh? Oh,
Witcher's
true.
on Netflix. Why would
Yeah.
you pirate Netflix?
Yeah,
like,
true,
it's-
true.
everybody already has that.
Disney Plus is still new and they're still trying to sell it. So.
And I mean, like, there's, I don't know how to say this without saying it. A lot of people don't want to give Disney their business.
Yeah, that's true. All right, but continue.
But I can tell you from my experience, when I watched the first season, which I believe was already out on DVD, I watched the DVD version of it, and then when it was airing, I got an HBO subscription, and from then on, it was always a weekly thing that I did with the family and with my brother. But yeah.
So, I guess here's my next question. So, when you purchased this doesn't have to do with the show, I guess. When you did purchase HBO, did you only purchase it for the months of Game of Thrones, or did you forget and just keep the subscription for the entire year round?
I think there was 1 year I kept the subscription all year round
Holy fuck.
because there was a lot of stuff that was coming out that I was like, well, let's watch it. Why not?
So
Like,
how
what
much
other
is
stuff?
how much is HBO a month, or is it more now, or did it
I
go
don't.
down?
That's a good question,
do you-
dude. I don't have it now. My brother uses it, and I
Okay.
will say, Riley's my roommate, who knows all these guys.
We played.
He's been on the podcast.
We played Matchmaker. The
Oh,
dude
he
who came
has?
on for the
Yeah,
Evangelion.
he's been on the
podcast.
podcast for
Evangelion.
Evangelion. So
Okay.
yeah.
which
he-
I'm
he's
assuming
been
is anime.
on- correct.
Okay, all right. So
correct.
Riley was showing me HBO Max last night, and I had seen it before because Aaron has it, and then I'm over there all the time just watching shit. And the amount of content that they have, like Cartoon Network, all kinds of stuff that they have on HBO Max, it's absolutely ridiculous.
Really?
Yeah,
It's not-
Ed and Eddie, like all kinds of stuff.
I thought
So you're telling
HBO
me I can watch Ren and Stimpy in high def.
But they have a crap ton of anime.
Huh.
It's
I didn't know HBO Max had all of that stuff. I thought HBO Max was just. I honestly thought HBO Max was just HBO for like portable devices.
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
and that's what I thought it was too. And at first, it was very, very limited, and it was like the 8 big TV shows that HBO had, and then they filtered in some movies. I mean, breakout movies here and there.
Okay.
But now they're releasing, because of Corona, they're releasing movies that would originally release in theaters
Yeah.
on HBO Max.
That I
Warner
knew
Brothers
about.
is doing
That I
that
did.
too.
Yeah.
That's Warner Brothers just teamed up with HBO. Yeah, which I mean, do we want to talk about that? I mean, that's pretty topical.
What?
The, like, mean, we've talked about it in pretty much every episode already, but like the effect that the Rona has had on like the
Let's
film industry. I
We
mean,
can save
stay
that for
on
another.
topic.
All right,
Yeah.
We got
Sorry.
tonight is Game of Thrones.
Rip
because
Tenet.
we can talk about. Let's see how the AMC how the AMC thing plays out.
You
we
can talk
we
about
can
your
talk
don't
about
even
that.
get me started on that
There you
bullshit.
go.
We can talk about that another podcast
Dude.
after all of this Reddit stock market bullshit is done.
Yeah, I got
So-
a lot of things to
Frustration.
say, but none of them are coherent.
A lot of
None of them are
frustration.
coherent. None of them are
He
coherent.
got gypped of $200.
It's a long
That's
story.
that's the short story.
That's the short
Dude,
story.
I didn't even know about this Reddit shit when I bought in.
all right. So anyway,
So what's next?
okay, well, because I asked about the theory. Okay, I guess let's continue on with the question that I just asked. Was Ethan? Do you have any? Because Ethan and I watched it after it was done. We watched it 2020 through 2020 up until we just finished it a couple weeks ago.
So wait, what season did you say you started watching it live on?
It was week to week start of season 4.
Okay.
But
okay.
as I was watching season 1 as they were in the middle of season 3.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
So he did get into it still early on when season 3 was still airing.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
was it coming out It was coming out yearly, right?
Yes,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. So, yeah. Ethan? Do you have any theories on how it got so popular? I'm in the boat of believing him and agreeing with him, whereas there was no true fantasies at the time, and not only were there big major production fantasy at the time, but it was also a television series that people knew that they would be able to, stick with, and it would be coming out for years upon years.
I mean, yeah, all of those things. I also think the fact that I think the thing that sold Game of Thrones is what the reason Game of Thrones sold even early on and sold even in its later seasons is Martin's intention behind the writing of making it a more believable, more legitimate fantasy. You know what I mean?
Okay, yeah,
A more realistic fantasy than say Lord of the Rings. You know what I mean? And the lack of there's a lot of religious overtone in Christian overtone in Lord of the Rings.
Oh yeah,
And I think and in a lot of subsequent fantasy writing after that has a lot of it always had to have a fucking positive message or you know what I mean?
and Game of Thrones is the opposite of that.
I mean, not
where,
that there wasn't positive parts to the show, to parts of it, and some good themes in it.
it
but,
was just a lot darker.
Yeah, I think the fact that Lord of the Rings and the subsequent IPs that it spawned were very upfront, in your face, this is about hope, or this is about some other positive ideal.
Like Star
You know what I
Wars.
mean? Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think the fact that yes, those things exist in Game of Thrones, but I think a lot of people, as much as people do enjoy Lord of the Rings, I think maybe that's one of the reasons a lot of people get turned off of it.
Mhm.
Whereas Game of Thrones didn't have that sort of turn off. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The messages are definitely not as in your face
Yeah.
as Lord of the Rings or Star Wars for
Yeah.
sure. But it does have those undertones of Christianity and religious beliefs, and I mean with the Light of the Seven and
Yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. There's definitely religious symbolism throughout the entire show.
yeah.
But it's not I guess at least with Lord of the Rings is all about the morals of Christianity. That's where Tolkien got all of his ideas from.
Yeah.
So whereas whereas Game of Thrones, it's if it talks about religion, it's talking about it in the way of like how does religion affect society, basically. Whereas like it's not supposed to be like, oh, Christianity good.
Right.
Game of Thrones is talking about how does religion like um, Christianity affect society, and that's especially the Catholic Church. They get into the Catholic Church symbolically in is it season 5 and 6?
Yeah.
Because it's blatant. In my opinion, it's pretty blatant.
That is like the major arc of 5 and 6.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we won't get into that yet. So I guess now, we might as well start talking about the show. Do you want to just go season by season instead of episode by episode, or do you have any questions that you want to go through, or how do you want to do it?
Season by season seems like a logical breakdown, but
Yeah,
we
and
just
then
can't
we
like
can-
stay too long in each
Yeah,
one.
Yeah.
And we can do like a small, like we don't have to give a full-on analysis of the season. We like I'm talking about each. For each of us, we can each give a general rating on each season, like out of 10.
Or maybe
Let's
not-
preface it with like, what's your favorite season?
I'm not sure if I could remember like everything about season 1, 2, and 3, but like I feel like I would. I don't think we need to rate it. I haven't put any thought into like what I would rate each season out of 10.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like I don't think we need to we're not Metacritic, you know.
We can say we
But,
liked
like,
it
we-
or not. We can
I-
say we
I-
like
okay, yeah.
how much we enjoyed it.
If
or
I was a
something
viewer,
like
I would rather hear about like what you took away from it,
that. Okay, yeah.
not
let's
like
go.
not like
Okay.
how you liked it or why you liked it,
Yeah,
like what
yeah.
was important about it or what was bad, like what was
Yeah.
glaringly bad about it.
Yeah, okay, so let's start. Then let's just start with season 1 either way. So, season 1.
One of you two go.
Okay.
I don't remember what happened in season 1.
So, season 1. I heavily enjoyed season 1. I thought it was a great introduction to to what the show, at least in terms of what Martin wanted the whole story to be about, like really about politics and military strategy and slightly subverting of well, I shouldn't say slightly, but subverting of expectations. The good guys don't actually have an easy way to win. They have to not only will the good guys struggle, but they will they'll just flat out lose. They'll die. And season 1 introduces the entire franchise, I think, really well, in terms of like story and writing, because Ned Stark, I think, really paves the way of like, oh yeah, he's your stereotypical fantasy, like good morals.
Yeah.
He's 100% the good guy, but he's literally like your stereotypical hero.
Absolutely.
In most sense, and that's very purposeful in the writing, and I like that because it gets to people, oh yeah, this is who I'm rooting for. And
Yeah.
for a casual audience, obviously they're not gonna think, oh, could this end badly for the good guy? Because every single time I'm like, oh, no one expects what happens to him at the end of season 1 to happen.
Yeah.
But it's just like, I have already watched shows where that has happened, so it's like I had already been expecting that, and I had known beforehand as well, but but it just is like it was written very well. How he goes into this, he's a war veteran who is very good at making war tactics and physical fighting. And then when he's put into this like political situation, he has no idea what he's doing and just blindly trusts everybody except for one person. But just because he doesn't trust that one person, he still blindly trusted everybody else, and it caused him to die. And that's a perfect way to introduce how the entire series was going to end up being. Unfortunately, it didn't end up being all of that throughout the entire show, but for the most part, it was. And in terms of like introducing a an idea and a show's like main topic, I think it did it extremely well. So if you're talking about just an introduction of a TV series and like story structure wise, I think it did it extremely well. Uh, but then there's the actual like physical filming of it, and that's trash.
Right. Right.
The fact like how I've described it throughout a lot of the seasons too, not just one. Um, it looks like they were on a tripod, and the cinematographer was like, wait, it's time for a pan. Oh, got it. That's good? Okay, cool. That's the cinematography to like pretty much a T in my opinion for seasons 1 through honestly 3. 4 it's slightly better. 5 we actually start doing some pretty average stuff. But in terms of like the early seasons, sure the writing is like really good in the early seasons, but the cinematography is honestly extremely trash. So, in my opinion, Ethan will probably go more in depth with that. I will allow the person who graduated with with cinematography to explain that, but that will be on his turn. But in terms of season 1, that was my take on season 1. Great introduction to the entire franchise, and if you're gonna learn about introducing something, I would suggest watching season 1 of Game of Thrones.
And that's honestly one thing I was enjoying. I was looking forward to watching the show with you, Ethan, because I was looking forward to hearing your opinions on that side of it, the more film um, jargon, I guess, because I'm not into that
Yeah.
world. I know nothing about it.
I'm
and-
sorry we didn't get to do that. That was
No, it's
one of the most chaotic times in my life.
yeah. We both had a lot going on, but no, season 1. I mean, from it, you're meeting the characters, and from the first episode, I think just about every major character is in that episode, and it gets you hooked. What happens at the end of that episode when Bran's climbing the tower and he catches Jamie and Cersei? I mean, the show does a lot of things that I personally haven't seen in shows before, and that's what I think is another factor what draws people in. The twists and turns throughout the way, and Ned is definitely the face of season 1, and that's obviously his season, and that's the only season he has. But it's definitely. You said something, and I was gonna comment on, and I cannot remember what it was. But yeah. Oh, most nudity by far in all the seasons. It gradually gets less as you go through, but the first episode, I think there's like 3 different nudity scenes. Um, but yeah, and then one of my favorite seasons by far, and it follows the book to the T. I mean, it's almost verbatim from the book. So, yeah. E.
Uh, I don't want to like be too repetitive. As far as like Peyton was talking about subverting expectations, there's in the fantasy like community or whatever, there's a notion that Tolkien introduced of like good king, good country, right? Good king, good society, whatever. Um, kind of a Plato, an ideal that Plato talks about, but the idea of like I don't know if Aragon's a good guy, so when he becomes a king, the country will be good, right? And Martin has, I'm sure most of you watching this are familiar with like what Martin has said about like, oh, what's Aragon's tax policy? Like, okay, cool, right? I'm not gonna go too deep into that. Ned Stark is like the example of like when you start out in the north in like episode 1, then you go south. Ned Stark in the north is like a good example of like good king, good country, good man leading. Therefore, like the society like follows him and everything's good. and it's like what Martin did well in this bit was that like he set up like what we expect of fantasy with the North, and then he takes you south, and it's everything you don't expect about fantasy, but which is more akin to like reality. Um,
Right.
Random thought on the topic of like political drama television series. I did enjoy Game of Thrones series 1 to 4 more than I enjoyed House of Cards because after season 1, House of Cards is boring as fuck.
Yes, yes, yes. I completely agree with
And
that.
like Fincher's probably my favorite director, but damn, what was going on in that writer's room? Anyways, besides the point. Uh, um, you tagged me for talking about cinematography. Editing is how the audience experiences the film. Editing is like incredibly fucking important. Uh, Editing is how the audience like experiences the film. The editing throughout the show is like pretty weak. Like it's really just like whenever you watch like a lot of artistic shit, like whenever you watch Breaking Bad, like the editing in Breaking Bad is top notch. Like the way things like the Kuleshov effect, like A plus B equals C. Two separate ideas, two separate shots put together make a third completely separate meaning. A plus B does not equal A plus B, B plus A. A plus B equals fucking D. Like something completely separate. That's the Kuleshov effect. Two unlike things put together with a cut, meaning something completely new. The editing in Game of Thrones is pretty much just like showing you what's happening. It's like, oh, this guy looks over here. So now we have to show what he's looking at. There's not a lot of like creative like change to it until like season 7 when Sam finally goes to college and you like see that one cool montage that we watched in like an editing class. Cinematography wise, I mean, the lighting in Game of Thrones is generally better than The Witcher. I don't know if we didn't do a Witcher episode. Do we do a Witcher episode?
No, we have not.
We don't need to get into my whole or spiel about how the lighting in Witcher is weird and mostly bad, like pretty weird. But like,
I think when if we're gonna do a Witcher episode, we can do it before season 2 airs.
yeah, that's a good call.
All right. Anyway, let's go back to Game of Thrones.
But the cinematography throughout the show could have been shot by like a sophomore in college, a sophomore in film school. Like, it's really, really disappointing.
Yeah.
Like, cinematography is the soul of your narrative, right? Like, when you're seeing like light stream through the trees of a sunset, and the characters just had like a life-changing moment. Like the character just like saw like escaped death, and now the shot is like the light streaming through the trees with the character in front of that. That allows you as the audience member to experience that catharsis that the character's feeling of their life just flashing before their eyes and surviving it. You don't get a shot anything close to that until like Tyrion and uh, Sir Mormont like survive the Stone People, and there's just like nothing special about the cinematography. Like it's just like really disappointing. Like you're there, you're getting paid thousands of dollars to be here, and like compose shots, and it's just shot reverse shot, like tracking shot, dolly shot, like nothing. Didn't put the like didn't like. It's
a lot of medium, a lot of like medium. I know I'm saying this poorly, but like a medium.
a lot of medium
Like,
shots.
A lot of medium-sized lenses with either wide shots of like the space, and that's about it. With the two characters
Yeah,
in the middle, like that's like a majority of the shots.
Yeah, there's a lot of medium
seasons
coverage.
1 through 4, and that's it. Like,
yeah, longer lenses could have been used, more utilized for like close-ups. Like there's a lot of medium close-ups when there should have been close-ups. If you know what I'm talking about.
yeah.
Um,
Honestly, early on with how like I'm gonna compare this to Game of Thrones. I'm gonna compare this to Lord of the Rings. Um, and honestly, like other fantasies. maybe they did this on purpose, or maybe they did this because they didn't have enough budget or thought it was pointless. But a big thing about fantasy is showing off the world of showing off the
Yeah.
world. There is almost no like landscaping like shots at all.
Well, there are so I think what you're getting at is there's landscape shots, but like Lord of the Rings, you have the fucking helicopter flying
Yeah.
over
Yes.
like
Yeah.
Middle Earth with Gimli and them running across Middle Earth.
Yeah, there's
And
none
Peter
of
Jackson's
that.
just like, "Dude, just fucking run. Today
Just-
we are
just
running."
Go.
And it's
You
all
are-
running in helicopter shots for a whole day of shooting. Now,
You're-
did HBO have the budget for all these things? Yes and no, but by season 4, drones were being heavily utilized in filmmaking already, so the budgetary issue kind of is negated by that.
Yes.
So you can't really like cop out on the budget like with that. Um, I don't know, man. It's just
I-
cinematography is the core tenet of filmmaking, and arguably, depending on how you think about it, like more important than a lot of other aspects, because it's like it's the camera. That's your medium. That's your artistic medium is the camera. What you use the camera for.
Mhm.
And if you're only telling the story through actors' dialogue, might as well watch a play. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, it feel. I mean, I enjoyed it. I definitely enjoyed it, but like, it does feel like you're watching a play. And like, if you're not going to use the camera to tell the story, like the camera is the most important and biggest tool you have in your arsenal as a director to tell the story, and not utilizing it is really, really a disservice to the piece of art you're making and the source material and really everybody working on it, because they're there to make good shit. And I mean, they still made good shit, but like, you're not gonna use the best tool you have to make that good shit. Like, you've got a forklift, you've got a backhoe over here. We're digging trenches, and you got a backhoe over here, but we're all gonna dig with shovels instead. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Did anybody else have a hard time like understanding where everything was like located throughout the show unless you saw specific characters? Because like there were occasions when like I weren't sure where the characters were at until like a blatant city was shown. Like, I'm being serious, because, like, and I have to say, like, when I say, like, landscaping shots, like, there was no, like, there were occasions when I, like, wasn't sure, where are we? Like, there were so many times that I was like, where are we at right now?
Well, the good
Because, like, I don't know, like, a lot, even some of the cities look like, have similar structure, up until you see the like, oh yeah, here's the screenshot of the Red Keep.
right.
Bam. Like, and it's just like, oh, we're there right now. Like, I guess here's a big thing. I guess here's a big example. The city with the most gold,
Highgarden.
Highgarden. What the like? You would expect Highgarden to look like to be massive. If it has all this gold and everything, it would be like huge. It would be a giant city. It would be
They don't-
great.
they don't
and
have-
it's literally one fucking castle.
I was kind
Like
of.
what the
I was
fuck?
gonna say,
They don't have the most gold. They have the most resources. But yes.
But okay, if it has the most resources,
Right,
it would have
right.
a lot of everything. Then it would
I mean,
it would still be a massive fucking city.
I was pretty disappointed by the production design for Highgarden and Castle Rock.
Castle Rock.
Yeah.
The production design for both
Castle
of
You
those
see
just
Rock.
kind
bits and pieces of both. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's like what the fuck?
We're
Like,
always talking
Castle
about it.
Rock sounds like it would be like this like grand city. It honestly looks kind of like lame. It looks like a normal castle with like multiple walls like covering it, and that's about it.
The
Like,
most grand city is always King's Landing. It's always the capital.
which doesn't
But, like,
seem
But like, I would have
logical.
expected Castle Rock to be like 70% as cool as.
Yeah, but
no,
when you
it-
think about it, it's just a Lannister's home. It's not, you know.
I mean, yeah, but it's a it's
Capital.
a
But it's
city.
supposed-
It's like if each.
It's still supposed to be a city,
But it's a
isn't it?
city,
Like,
yeah.
It's not just
Yeah.
supposed to be a castle. Like, it's supposed to be a city. At least that's how they describe them. They describe these places as like cities. Like even Winterfell. Like
Winterfell
Winterfell,
feels small.
huh?
Winterfell feels small.
Winterfell feels small, but when you're walking through, when you see the characters walking through it, you can tell it's not just like a small castle. Like you can tell it's a town. Like Castle Rock doesn't even look like a town. Same with Highgarden.
We see Winterfell for almost 6 of the 8 seasons.
But
And
if-
we see
but-
Castle Rock for 2 episodes.
Yeah, but like what I mean
One.
is like Winterfell not only feels like a town, it looks like a town too. Whereas like
Winterfell
everything,
should have been bigger. Like you see plenty of Winterfell, which is like how you know that it's small. I feel like Winterfell should have been like 50% bigger.
yeah, like I understand like if it's not supposed to be like yeah, I understand the capital is supposed to be the capital and obviously it'll be like it will be the biggest area of the
Mhm.
entire country, but like these other places should at least be a town around the castle, not just the castle. A lot of these other places are just the castle. It's like that makes no sense. There should be a town around it, if anything, if not close to being the size. Highgarden or Castle Rock should definitely be close to the size of the capital.
Each one of those
Um,
places is the capital of its region.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
it's just kind of their family's home. Like Winterfell Starks.
Is that so? Is that
Bear Island, Mormonts.
Is that what it's supposed to be though? Because
Yeah.
like if they're the land of their whole like section, it would like it should be like it shouldn't just be a castle. Like it should be this place where like people are coming in and out all the time doing trade. Like those are the main. That's like the main trading port for their section of the continent. Because like
That's just
that's what it seems like.
Winterfell's just where the Warden of the North lives. It's not like a city. It's not like the capital. It's not. They don't do any trade or any like. It's literally just their home. That's like, I mean, the books go into detail, but like that's where each family crest. That's where their house is.
And then they
It's
just have
their
meetings there every once in a while.
Yeah.
Is that how like the continent's structured? Like, what's the point of leading all four lands?
So if
there's
Winterfell is
no-
more of I can accept that Winterfell is more of a fortress than a city,
Yes.
but that same logic doesn't really apply to like Highgarden. Like, okay, so look at the Vale, right? When they go to the Vale
Right.
with the Knights of the Vale, it looks like Spain, and the dude is in the wheelchair and whatever. That's like you get the idea that this island, like where they are, has a city around it. Like
Wait, are we talking about the same place?
The Vale, right?
The Vale.
The Vale is the one on top, like
The
along
Erie.
the.
the Vale is where the Lannister daughter gets poisoned, right?
No, that's
Mm.
Sunspear.
That's Sunspear, yeah.
Okay, well,
Sunspear.
That yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, that place.
the island. It's an island, right?
Mm,
They don't show, so you don't know.
You get
This
the idea
again with
that
these
Kind of,
landscapes.
yeah,
you
yeah,
get
yeah.
that place is more of a city than just
shots.
one palace.
right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
You get the idea that there's like a lot there because there's like gardens and there's like
Yeah.
other shit that you see. I feel like Highgarden should have been like the space of Highgarden should have been characterized in a similar manner.
Okay.
And same with Castle Rock. Like I was disappointed by the siege of Castle Rock. I sort of understand why they did it the way they did it, but like I still would have liked to have like seen like the whole town.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
Well, especially with how much they talk about all these lands, you never get to go see them.
yeah,
And then when you do.
And so, like, as the show is going on, I kind of wondered what is the fucking point of being leader of all seven kingdoms when we don't even know, like, as an audience, what does it even mean? Like, what are you ruling? Like, does it just mean you get all the money?
Well,
like,
I think
do
that
the
could be-
Do the people in
That's
these
like-
other continents even care? Like, do they actually care, or are they just being like, if we have one ruler, as long as we say we're allies with them, we're not gonna be attacked.
I
Like,
think-
wow, like is like I don't know. That
I
just
see what
seems
you're
so,
saying.
like,
So the show really relies on the capital as their overall opinion for how the rest of the world speaks. So like when
yeah.
Joffrey's getting mobbed because they're all hungry, I mean, they speak for the majority of the world in that context.
Yeah, it just doesn't make any sense because like that's an immediate city thing.
Right,
That
right.
doesn't mean that applies to the rest of the continent. So many times throughout the show, I was like, what is the point of being the ruler of the Seven Kingdoms when we don't even know what we're fucking ruling? Like what does it even mean to be the ruler of the Seven Kingdoms? Because it mainly seems that the ruler of the Seven Kingdoms just rules over the fucking city.
That's the
Which is,
perspective
like-
that you get from the show.
Yeah, that's kind
Absolutely.
of like, I mean, and it seems like being ruler of the city is fucking ass. So like, why would you even want to be ruler of the city in the first place? Like even the first king you see, he's just like, dude, like I'm just here for the fucking party. Like I'm just here to fucking drink. and
He was
get
a drunk, yeah.
Yeah, and it's just like, okay, like whatever. Like obviously you can just be a king and
See,
just
I liked him for the fact that he was like what a king actually would have been like.
Oh yeah.
Like-
I did like I liked them too. I personally did like them too. But you know what I mean though? Like it just doesn't make any sense. Like why do so many people want to be ruler of the Seven Kingdoms when it seems like you just rule over the city and just get money?
So,
And that's
I
about
mean,
it.
I think-
like congratulations.
I think
you made
ruling the
money,
Seven
but, like,
Kingdoms is enough of a MacGuffin to like warrant the rest of the action of the show. I didn't like the notion of why do the Seven Kingdoms have to be united to me is a bigger issue, but like why you would want to do that, why you would want to rule. I mean, I think that's not really a point of contention for me.
Okay.
Why the Seven Kingdoms have to be united under one ruler is a bigger point of contention for me. But you do make a good point that it would have been good. They had the time. I mean, the show's long as fuck. They had the time where they could have like showed Cersei like meeting with foreigners besides the Iron Bank.
And besides Dorne.
Yeah.
Dawn is
Dawn.
Dawn is what I was talking about.
Dorne, yeah.
Okay.
Fucking meeting with foreigners and being like, oh, okay, well, like, ooh, it's looking like the Seven Kingdoms are weak. Oh no, you say Ukraine weak? Ukraine not weak? I rule all the Seven Kingdoms. Don't invade. I have my like Syria's trying to like. It would have been good if they like showed her meeting with foreign dignitaries and being like, the foreign dignitaries are like, oh well, what's the deal with the civil war going on up in this piece? Like Robb Stark is in the north, like taking over, and we're not sure if we want to trade with you anymore. You know, like the Iron Bank talks to her about that, but it would have been better if like one of the guys that from the other side of the world that Daenerys is in,
Yeah.
like
Oh, okay.
comes like they're trading, like they have to have some sort of international trade. I think what you're getting at is that there was like no international existential threat to the Seven Kingdoms where it's like, okay, we have to put down Robb's rebellion, otherwise we are a weaker nation for it, and this other country could invade us, or this other country is going to
Yes.
restrict trade and call us a failed state and put like sanctions on us because we are currently in a civil war and they don't want to trade with an unstable nation.
That's the thing though. The other country's never their enemy. The other country's never the threat. It's the Long Night that's the threat.
Right,
Well,
but
that's
like
a whole nother
what would have been interesting is if it would have been interesting if like the other countries like were adding to the tension of the already present tension domestically. You know
It
what I'm saying?
doesn't have to
Because that's what
be-
real
Other than the
it-
conflict between the Viper and the Martells and the Lannisters,
Yeah,
and the
yeah,
Yeah,
conflict.
but
Yeah,
aren't the
basically, so-
Martells like technically like part of the Seven Kingdoms?
That's what I
Isn't
thought.
Dorne?
No,
I,
they're in Essos. They're in Essos.
I always thought they were part
I
of
thought
the
they
Seven
were.
No,
Kingdoms.
they
That's-
are in Westeros. They are.
Dude, I'm
Yeah.
telling you, there's
that was
so
the impression
many...
I always got, that
there
they were
were-
like a sub territory.
Yeah.
So like that's still a domestic problem then.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah.
So I would have liked some international problems. That would have been interesting.
And it doesn't have to be for like a major plot. It just has to be like for like even like 2 episodes. Like,
Just a
I'm
little
sure
bit
you
of
can-
salt in the wound.
Yeah, yeah,
All right.
just to show that okay, there like here's the reason why like there needs to be a ruler of the 7 kingdoms.
Like, okay.
Like here's the reason why these like all the 7 kingdoms need to be prepared to ally up to bring together their forces. There is none of that. There is none of that. Like absolutely nothing. And it just doesn't make any sense to me. And that's throughout the entire show. That's like an actual like problem with just the structure of like the entire like idea of like a ruler of the 7 kingdoms. But that we could go on for a while.
Yeah.
Let's move on. I think we said our piece and gave enough of a reason why we don't like
Yeah,
why
season
there's
2.
a problem with that.
Do we want to cut to season 2?
Yes, let's cut to season 2.
Dude, I don't know other than like what needs to be said about season 2 other than it's one of the most boring seasons. The end, like with the battle where Stannis attacks King's Landing. All right, fine, but that's the most climactic part of season 2. I like it. It's a lot of character development, but it's very, very slow moving compared to season 1 and season 3.
I barely remember season 2 because I watched 1,
Exactly,
2,
yeah.
3, and 4 like all in a row, like pretty much back to back.
Mm-hmm.
Now that you're talking about the Stannis' battle, I really enjoyed the Blackwater battle. I thought that was like they really set up like the dragon's breath under the city well, like set up and payoff. I thought that was pretty fucking good.
That'll be good to
Joffrey
reference
being-
later on. That'll be
Yeah,
good. Make sure
yeah.
you
Yeah.
keep that in mind for what we reference
They
later on.
they had all this napalm underneath the city, and
Tyrion
Tyrion
making the
finds out
sacrifice
about
he
it
does.
somehow from the
Yes.
maester or whatever, and he's like, I bet I'm gonna fucking use this napalm on Stannis. And I was like, genius move. I really like that Tyrion is the smart guy.
Character development.
Smart guy winning over the strong guy. You know, Odysseus. You know, classic. Fucking, I really enjoyed Tyrion and Shay's romance as
Dude, yeah.
different as it was. I enjoyed that it was like off the wall, but it like still felt right for his. Well, she's like a secondary character and he's the primary character. But
We
like,
learn a lot
it's-
about
it worked for both of their characters. I feel like.
Tyrion and specifically Tyrion's relationship with Tywin, his dad. And
Yeah.
we learn a lot about Tywin
Yeah.
as well, and just the threat and the power that he is in that
I
world.
thought
There's a lot of
so,
cringing in season 2 because Joffrey's just really, really horrible.
He's
I do want to talk about what Tyrion, the
Tywin.
Tywin.
Also,
His actor is actually fucking amazing. Like his actor
Oh, yeah.
is amazing.
he's definitely one of my favorite characters. Absolute hard ass.
Well, as soon as he's introduced in season 2, right? He is introduced in season 2. He's not in season 1 at all.
Correct.
Yeah, he's season
Yeah.
2. Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah, when
He's the big
when
bad.
he-
So you know the big bad as a fantasy trope.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
the season 1's big bad, and then
Even though he's not in season 1 at all.
but then season 2 he's not as bad as they made him out to be,
exactly.
which is
He's
is cool though.
Yeah, but he is a threat, and that has a lot to do with his actor. Like like the guy that plays Tywin, you can just feel his presence as soon as he
absolutely.
is introduced, and it wasn't partake of the cinematography. Like that is
Excellent
all
casting.
just phenomenal casting on his part. He is phenomenal, and I want to see him in more stuff. Like,
Mhm,
and he is such a good actor. Whether he plays a good guy or a bad guy, whatever. I just want to see that guy in more stuff. He's so good. And this is with no context at all. Like, this is with zero context. I was just watching the show. Anybody that talked about the show, like, before I watched it, never talked about Tywin. They never mentioned Tywin, ever. Which is, I think,
Pouring
a
out for
disservice.
Tywin.
Yeah. I think that's a huge disservice. He is so amazing of a character and an actor. So,
Right,
honestly, one of the best parts of
Yeah,
the early seasons.
Early seasons,
So-
I enjoy pretty much every scene he's in.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh yeah. I don't think there's a scene without him that I didn't that
E-
with him that I
Even
didn't
when he's
like.
beefing with Tyrion, who obviously we all love, but
Right.
like even when he's beefing with Tyrion, he's still like a well fleshed out character. You
Yeah,
know, well
yeah.
written.
He's definitely a bad guy, but he is very, very level-headed, and he's very, very methodical
Hmm.
about every decision that he makes. But he is so proud of his house, and that's like we'll get into Jamie and his character flaws, but that's his character flaw is his pride for his house and who he is
Hmm.
and who his kids are, other than Tyrion, Jamie obviously, but
Tywin is a lot like Gus Fring in Breaking Bad.
Yes. Yes.
And I think I love Tywin for the same reasons I love Gus Fring. Both villains, but I love them both because they're like neither one of them are like emotionally have emotional motivations or like on a revenge quest or like a conquering quest. Well, Gus has a small revenge quest, but it's not his primary. It's not like his main character. Um, both of them are like their characters. Yes, they're bad, but they're methodical. Like
oh,
you're saying, like they're
absolutely.
controlled. They're not like this. Like to look at them, they're not like this scary, like fucking like breaking skulls, like come in the room like fucking shit up. You know, just like they're not King Kong. You know, they're
Wild animal.
smart.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're evil but smart, and that's what I think I like about that both of those characters.
Mhm. Very yeah. So easily the best like one probably the best part of season two
And
is him. Is
there-
he's probably the best part of season two, hands down.
And
Agreed.
both Tywin and Gus Fring are not like pure evil. Like Gus Fring is like a genuinely nice guy, treats his like the employees that are like the front for the Pollos Hermanos employees. He treats them well, but he's still kind of a bad guy. He's still a pretty fucking bad guy. And then like
Mhm.
Tywin Lannister is like he knows Joffrey's got to go. He's
Right.
trying to rein Joffrey in the whole time. He's like not like he's not like a sin. He's not like he doesn't like put salt in the wound kind of guy. Really, he's like he's doing for himself
And his family, his
and
house.
yeah, and that generally has a bad impact for the most for other people.
Right.
But he's not like tormenting people, you know.
He's not Joffrey.
Yeah, and he's not Ramses. So,
No, Ramsey. Yeah, no, absolutely not.
but yeah, season 2 I mean slow but good.
Slow but good, and I he definitely carries season two.
Mm.
Because you just see so much of him. I don't know. So I don't think we have to talk about season two that much.
Season 3.
A lot of our season 1
Heartbreak.
discussion was whole show discussion.
Yeah. So season three. You can start, Nate, with season three.
So I loved what you said because we've obviously I see you guys every other day, if not every day. So Ethan and I got drinks the other night, and you were talking, Ethan, about how your favorite thing about Rob Stark is his wit in getting around Jamie and
Yeah.
capturing Jamie, and
Big
I
brain
agree
time.
with you.
Because he has a smaller army, and they talk about how he has a smaller army all the
lot.
time.
His strategic mind for
It's all about his strategy.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't even have his father's brute. That
not at all.
he doesn't have Ned Stark's brute.
And
Like,
here's
and he knows that. He knows that, and it's all wit. Yeah.
and he's 14 in the books.
Really?
He's 14. He's 16 when he dies. 14. They changed him, so I believe it was set 15 years after. Yeah, it was set 15 years after Robert's Rebellion, and he takes the throne from the Targaryens. The books were, and then the show picked up where they were 17. They made Rob 17, and it was 3 years later
Mhm.
after the rebellion. But yeah, they're all children in the shows. Daenerys is same thing. She's like 14, 15. She more plays like a child when you first meet her, but Rob never really does, and neither does Jon. But no, that's definitely a great thing about season 3. Season 3 really, really opens up with all the characters, but I mean, the Red Wedding. I mean, as long being the classic episode that it is, it's like I just remember watching that the first time and being so angry. Like I turned to my brother and I was like, "You just wasted like days of my life watching this show. Like I will never watch another episode of this show." I hated that. Oh my god. So, because everyone you root for is dead. Literally
Yeah.
everyone that you root for dies. Thank God I didn't stop watching because season 4 is by far my favorite season. But yeah, that Red Wedding was hard to watch.
So I the Red Wedding to me was like a perfect way to transition actually who you're supposed to root for because it's a reminder that like you can't just be the good guy and to me because like at this point of the show I think did you and I start watching it together or no was that
It was
after?
like off and on, dude.
Yeah. So
Because you hadn't moved in yet.
But him and I have started talking about what is the like, what is the overall theme of the show? Like, what Ethan and I were like talking about that at the time. Like, what is supposed to be the because like you can have like small themes and like small messages throughout, but like for an overarching story, you want a continual theme that like this is the point of the story and we weren't entirely we were discussing what is the point of the show like what is the main like big theme of the entire show we weren't sure what it was at the Red Wedding and then into season 4 in my opinion it really was like oh here's when we see boom all the good guys are dead so what do you do now well what we see is like a few of the people who we were against Tyrion we were always rooting for but you weren't really sure if he was going to be good or not but Tyrion Jaime as the big one as like these two characters really jump into these like positions of like wait is everything we're doing actually good or is what we're doing actually bad and then they start to like go against that and start to fix their wrongdoings from seasons 1 through 3 and start becoming good guys of their own now we can later on we'll talk about how they fucked that up just changed it even though in my opinion that's might have been where George R. R. Martin might have been wanting to take the whole plot was like oh yeah the good guys end up fucking dying and then you rely on the bad guys actually being like oh fuck like this
is like not a good thing, and I've been talking with my mic muted this entire time. Fuck.
Well, I mean, you're pretty fucking loud, so me and Nate's mics compensate
Yeah, there
for
you
you.
go.
Yeah.
Is mine on?
Yeah, yours
mine's
is
on.
but yeah, it's really like I don't know. In my opinion, it seemed like the Red Wedding was supposed to be like all the good guys are dead. What happens to the world now? And we start to see that in season 4 when and all this bad shit is happening. Oh, episode after episode after episode, just more and more bad shit is happening. And then we see the redemption
Season 4.
of at the end of season 4. We see the the bad characters or the characters that were just being being subjugated to the people above them to just do whatever they're being told to do, just be finally fed up with it and they're finally done and then they do the job that the good guys were going to end up doing and then after that we would have seen what are they going to do after they killed the bad guys. but they don't do that. But it seemed like that's what they were going to do, and it would have been I thought as an overarching show that would have been a great idea. But that's for later on. We'll talk about the overarching theme, like what they did with the
I
entire
liked the
show.
red wedding. I thought it was
So-
a really good scene.
So did I. So did I.
I was
I
like,
thought it was so good.
I loved when they stabbed her pregnant stomach 70,000
Oh
times.
my
I mean,
God.
it made me sick.
It
But
did.
I was like,
Yeah,
damn, they
dude.
really went there. Like, this is like, I was like, okay, this is the
It's
the
so
twists and
graphic.
turns I was promised. I was like, I see what they're on about now. Like everybody said, you don't expect the deaths in this show. Low-key saw Ned's coming. That I did not see coming. That
What?
the red wedding, I didn't see
Oh,
that coming at all.
I didn't
So
see
that-
it coming either.
That was like one of the
You
better
didn't know
moments.
about that beforehand?
No.
People said red wedding, dude. I didn't even.
All they said was red wedding, and I was like, okay, red wedding.
Red wedding
I don't know
sounds
what
like
that
a
means.
thing in Harry Potter. Like
Okay,
I don't.
alright.
Like,
Yeah,
it
it
sounds like a
does.
fun time, honestly.
It's just
I
weird
mean,
that
I
you knew
like the
about
color
Ned's
red.
death, but you didn't know about.
Everyone talks about Ned's death. No one talks about the red
Really?
wedding. Yeah. So coming from an outside perspective, at least, when anyone talked about Game of Thrones, I knew about Ned Stark's death, but
People just
everyone
say-
everyone talks about Ned Stark's death because the actor always dies in his fucking
Yeah,
in his
that's-
fucking movies.
yeah.
So like, that's why
Press-
everyone
press F
knows that
for
he's gonna
Sean.
die.
For,
Yeah.
Sean Beam,
Sean
bye-bye.
Sean Beam.
Sean Bean.
Press F. Did you?
Bigger-
He said
press
that.
F.
I think it was either after Game of Thrones or after another show or movie where he dies. He was like, I'm done playing a fucking role where the point of the character is to fucking die. The point of the deaths are good, and he's a and he
dies phenomenally.
He's such a good actor. Like he gives so much purpose to the character and like why
We gotta
their
cast
death
Sean
has an
Bean.
impact.
First of all, like, why would you give yourself like
It was a nice day for a red wedding.
beautiful day for a red wedding? Anyways,
Beautiful.
no, people don't really
day.
tell you what happens in the red wedding. They're just like, oh, you don't expect the red wedding, like it's the damn Spanish Inquisition or something. And like, I don't know, I liked it.
I did
I
like
liked
it
that
too.
Rob.
I mean, you like it, yeah, but it's like
I liked that Rob got
Hard
what
to
was coming
watch.
to him. Got what was coming to him because he was supposed to marry that one chick,
I will
and
say,
he
yeah.
broke his oath.
He broke that,
for love.
which is
And,
shown
you know,
in the first
I can respect
episode.
it. I
which,
can respect breaking the oath for love, but you got bigger fish to fry
Yeah.
than love here. We got people to avenge and Lannisters to kill.
as
and,
the
you know-
entire
you're in the middle of a war, but
You know,
please
listen,
choose your wife
listen.
you want.
Listen, you can marry the
Like-
chick from
like-
the Riverlands, kill the get to King's Landing, kill all of the Lannisters, and then
you can
divorce
fuck whomever
her,
you want.
divorce
you can
her,
fuck whomever you want.
Henry VIII style,
Oh my
divorce her,
God.
and then marry, the foreign doctor. You're
Listen,
good to go.
listen.
Like he should have made the tactical decision. Listen,
Should've
you're in
made
a
the
war.
tactical-
You got to make war decisions, and he's
Listen.
like trying to be Mr. Pretty Boy and like,
If-
have a romance here. Like,
Yes.
no, dude, like, focus. You lost your focus,
and you died for it.
you paid for it.
Like,
Like,
hey,
Well, he does
Get-
kill Karstark. When he kills Karstark, he half fucks himself over because he loses half of his army overnight when he kills their leader because he disobeys him. So, and he disrespects the hell out of him. But
that was
then he
interesting.
decides he wants to go after Castle Rock, and that's when he decides to go to the Twins because he needs to fill
Yeah.
his army up, and then just never leaves. Obviously, the Twins, or I mean.
the Riverlands.
Yeah, it's actually the Twins, but yeah.
What I liked about Robb Stark's storyline is I really enjoyed the politics of the rebellion. That's not a type of story that is told often enough.
Yeah, it's
And-
much, much better than the other military battles that we see in future seasons, like
Yes.
in 6 with the Battle of the Bastards, where it's like overnight. All right, well we're outmanned 3-1, but let's go.
Battle of the Bastards was like super disappointing, but
Yeah,
we'll get to that.
We'll get into that.
So
Um,
season 3, pretty solid, pretty decent overall, solid, respectable.
Wait, what?
I would say season 3 was respectable.
Yeah, absolutely. Painful. But
Rob
respectful.
took his eyes off the prize.
And it cost him his life.
Secure the bag.
So, well, if we're talking about like Rob Stark and his decision making, the whole so much of season 1. If there's two things you learn from season 1, and literally, actually, Ned Stark talks about it in the first episode. Keep your oaths. He's like, keep your oaths, or you will die, and you might have to die by an ally's hand, and that's him executing his a person that he knows in the
Karstark.
very first episode.
Oh,
okay?
yeah.
Like the rules of the show are explained in the very first episode, and then
Here are the rules.
and then if we know anything about what it means to win, fucking who's the first king?
Robert?
Yeah, Robert.
Baratheon.
Yes, Baratheon. Robert Baratheon. If we know anything about him, he's king, and he fucks whomever he wants. So, bro, as soon as you win, you can fuck whomever you want, even if you have a wife.
Listen,
No one gives
Because
a
he's the standard for a great king.
no one gives a flying
Listen.
fuck. Okay,
Rob was trying to be the good guy. Rob's like, hey, I'm a nice guy.
I'm a nice guy.
But he could have just as easily divorced the chick from the Riverlands after they won. Like, if you really cared about love that much.
Yeah.
I don't know. Didn't make.
Wasn't who he was.
He got what was coming to him. That's all I
He
can
had
say.
too much of his daddy in him.
Dumbass. And that's why he died.
Why did you
And
say it like
that's
that?
why he died. So, no, he got unfortunately in terms of tactics, which a lot of the show is about.
Listen.
He deserved to die.
Do you want to give the Lannisters what they got coming to them, or do you want to be romantic and shit? Nah.
One major-
Nah. We gotta get this revenge.
Major point that came out of season 3 that I was literally jumping up and down from after the episode ended. Jamie losing his hand.
Oh yeah, is that
because
in season
because
3? Yeah.
you
That is so good. That's a great subversion of expectations.
Yeah,
Actually,
yeah.
that is phenomenal.
it's so important because he is. I mean, they go on and on and on in the books about how Jamie is easily the best fighter in the realm of that time.
Mm.
And when he loses his hand, obviously that goes by the wayside. And I asked you the other night, Ethan, when we were talking at dinner, I was like, how different the show would have been if Jamie didn't lose his hand. Because, I mean, you take away his weapon and he becomes... And his character completely changes after that. He becomes... We'll talk about Jamie, but he's this asshole from the very, very beginning. And then, goes and threatens Ned when he's coming out of the brothel after he's done talking with Littlefinger. And
Which that's not even an entire threat, honestly. But I would much rather talk about Jamie as an overarching.
Do you want to get to season 4 real quick?
Let's
then?
get to season
finish
4.
this itinerary.
all right,
Yeah.
all right. Season 4,
I'm gonna
best
see-
season.
Best season.
Period.
Easily.
Joffrey couldn't
definitely.
turn. I was waiting for him to turn, full black.
What?
That kid couldn't die soon enough.
Oh.
Uh,
Does he die at the end of season 4?
no, beginning.
Oh.
Episode 4. He turns
Yeah.
purple, then I think green, and then, dude, I can't think of another movie or series where you just hate someone so much. Obviously he's the bad guy and you're supposed to hate him, but just everything that he does. It's not just what he does to Sansa, it's everything.
Mhm.
It's the worst.
Yeah, his
Deserved
death
what he
was
got.
pretty satisfying.
It was awesome.
Uh,
It was awesome.
fucking. Well, yeah, a lot of good politics in season 4. Tyrion in jail after he was just the hero of the city. I really liked the that switcheroo on
Bryce
that.
trial.
That felt good. Felt right. Or not right, but felt wrong. Felt real wrong, but it was a good plot device. I like that Littlefinger and not the Martells. Yeah, the Martells, right? The old lady. They the old lady from Highgarden.
No. The Roses.
I like that they're the ones that orchestrated Joffrey's death.
Yes.
Tyrell.
Tyrells, yeah. Uh, Old Lady Tyrell, one of my favorite characters.
Oh, absolutely, dude.
Oh, she's
My
amazing.
grandma to a T.
She was pretty legit.
Yeah.
What was I gonna say? See, I mean, Tyrion's trial is really good. Some of the best acting
I love
in the
getting
entire
random
series.
Viewers.
What?
We got a random viewer again.
Oh, good. Dude, stick around. There's
like
more.
somebody
There's more
that has
bullshit to
no
come.
context. He's just like jumping in.
Dude, you stumbled onto a gold mine of bullshit here. So stick around. You're gonna love it. We hardly ever post anything, but when we do, well, you're gonna get.
If
you're
I
gonna get
remember to post the episode,
you're gonna get some really hot takes about some really lukewarm issues. So Tyrion's fucking trial and a lot of swearing.
When Shay gets on trial, when she takes a stand.
Dude, that was hard.
Bruh.
That was hard to watch. I'll
Dude,
admit.
that was hard. Honestly,
Dude, you really
I had
thought she was
I had
gonna
a
come
harder
through for
time.
him.
I had a harder time watching that than I did the Red Wedding, honestly.
Yeah,
Like
I
that
agree.
was just like, what the fuck? Like, you know what? Fuck you.
Yeah.
You are a fucking whore. Like, what the hell? Like,
Yeah,
I was
Future
fucking
would have had a lot of
pissed.
words to say about that.
She belongs to the streets.
Bruh, it's confirmed when he goes to kill. I mean, he's not going to kill his dad. He's going to escape, but he stumbles upon her in his bed, and it's like, what the fuck?
I just
And then he strangles her, and then kills his dad on the toilet.
Dude, I love that.
Yeah.
It was great. When
It
he
was awesome.
strangles her, you feel that. It was really sad.
Oh, absolutely,
That was like-
absolutely.
That was like that's why season 4 is like the best scene. It's because you have all those dramatic arcs like kind of
Yeah.
coming to a close,
So
and those dramatic like very juxtaposed dramatic scenes that
Yeah.
are
Mhm.
kind of like lacking in later seasons.
season 4 is actually book 3, and so that first half of season 4 is all book 3, and then the second half of season 4 is all book 4.
Okay.
So it's 2 books in one.
Yeah. So before we continue to season 5, where does the book end? Like, where do the books end?
Which one? Like,
Literally, because he hasn't finished them yet.
oh, you're okay. So the ones that are written, you're saying?
Yes. Like, where does it end compared to
Dance
the
of
season?
Dragons. So it's apparently it's right because I'm not.
This
fully
guy
caught up.
says season 4. This
No,
guy
no,
literally
no,
says season 4.
Not even close. Not even close. Sorry, bud, but you're wrong.
Sorry, bud.
Sorry, viewer. Don't log off.
Don't log off. Don't bail. Don't bail. Where does it end?
No,
Where,
he's not
uh,
gonna bail. He wants to stay for the tension.
for
John-
the tension.
John dies at the end of Dance of Dragons. So the last book that he wrote.
Okay, yeah.
The
But that's the end of season 5.
correct, yeah.
So that's still not even like. So season 6 is all original.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it's not original. George R. R.
Well,
Martin's
he
still
still, yeah, he still like had influence in it,
there. Yeah.
but like it's not like it was a fully written book.
No, not at all.
Because like, when did he finish?
it is in his mind. I mean, he has it all planned out in his mind. Yeah, in his
yeah,
mind.
got,
yeah.
like, 12
He-
novels
if he
planned out in
if
my
he
mind,
had it
bro.
all planned out, we would have had the next book out in the last 10 years.
Dude, I've got, like,
Like
6
he does
novels
not have it
planned
planned
easily.
out.
So, okay, so dude, if you would read one of these books and you saw the amount of detail that he puts into absolutely everything.
I've
He goes
read
into
fantasies.
The
I've
color
read
of the
all.
grass,
Dude, that's all
the
fantasies.
smell of
have
the
you
dirt,
have you not read Lord
in
of the
every
Rings?
place that they go.
Have you not read Lord of the Rings, dude? Like Lord of the Rings is the exact same way. It's how you're supposed to write fantasy.
What
The
were we
Witcher's not
talking
like
about?
that at all.
What
were
Well,
we
the
talking
first 2 books.
Yeah. Well, those are short stories.
Yes, maybe the other
Anyway,
ones are, but like
What were we talking about?
season 4.
No, he
We were
said
talking about where the
something after
books the books end and the fun begins.
that. Yeah, I don't know. We lost
Dude,
our
it's-
place.
Yeah,
Lucas had Star Wars planned out.
Dude, exactly, bro. Dude, I've got 6 seasons in a movie planned out in my head. If you got that, you're a G. If you got that reference, good for you.
What did you say?
6 seasons in a movie planned out, bro. You're not gonna get it. You haven't seen the show.
Oh, that's what I wanted to say. So, like I said,
Oh.
book 1 is verbatim
Yeah.
to the show. Book 2 follows pretty similarly as well. So does book 3. Book 4, a little differences. In season 3, Tywin never sees Arya. Although I love what they did within the show because those are
yeah.
some of my favorite scenes. Him and Arya
Yeah, those were good. Yeah.
at Harrenhal. Yeah.
I like Arya and Friends. I like those little adventures.
Yeah. Her
The
little
little,
side quest.
the little Skyrim side quest.
But season 5 is where it goes completely two different directions.
Yeah, okay.
From the books and the show.
All right, since you're jumping in, so this podcast that we do is very
Disorganized.
very disorganized.
We're doing it all for you, new viewers.
It's very disorganized. We're not professional by any means, and our setup is not very professional.
No.
3 dudes
As you
talking on
could
a
tell,
couch.
as you could tell by me muting my mic,
It's
and
literally
not knowing it was muted.
1
So,
o'clock in the morning right now.
Yeah.
if
so,
it's echoing,
hey.
we won't be able to fix it. Like, hey, we just like
Fix it in post. That's the.
fix it in post.
That's what I learned in film school.
Dude, Thrash? Is this Thrash? Is this actually
It better
Rugby
be.
No,
Boy
dude,
Thrash?
Thrash doesn't know
His
enough.
name is Thrash Man. Is this
No.
actually Rugby Boy Thrash?
No.
There's no
Hey,
fucking way.
let's
Anyway,
let's not reveal identities. The
Any-
SEC is on.
It's a
Um,
screen
the
name,
SEC is gonna enter the chat.
the FCC.
Anyways, hey, so season 4, we good on season 4?
Yeah.
We're gonna move to season 5.
Let's.
I don't
yeah,
think there's a ton to be
anyway,
said for season
well-
4, other than Tyrion's great writing, the writing of Tyrion
And
in
the acting.
in the trial,
And the acting.
Peter
The
Dinklage's
acting,
great
yeah.
acting should have been underpinned by some goddamn cinematography. But
All
no, we had a videographer. Like,
A
dude, you
videographer.
shoot weddings on this? Like, is that what the fuck?
right, season 5.
Well, okay, but anyway, this podcast is very loose based.
Dude,
If
I
there is
bet-
a technical issue, unless if it's a muting
like-
issue,
you
we
like
won't
that?
be able to fix it. Sorry, not sorry. Anyway,
Dude, I bet
Um,
they hired a wedding videographer to be the DP for the red wedding.
Please stop.
It makes so much. Dude, the dots are connecting, bro. Season 5. All right, let's go. Divergent from the books.
Here we go. Yes.
Better than the
very.
Divergent movies, though. I liked John
Cheyenne
getting
Woodley?
killed. What?
Cheyenne Woodley, Divergent.
Yeah. Dude, imagine writing a young adult fantasy about a dystopian where
I don't know, dude. I watch it
there's
for
also
Cheyenne
a
Woodley.
three-way romance, dude. Imagine writing one of those. Cash money.
All right.
Anyways, is this when John gets killed? The climax is John dying.
Yeah, the end of season 5. Yep.
Is this when the Red Woman commits war crimes?
Every season? Yeah.
Well, I mean, yeah, I guess so. Her burning the princess.
Oh my God, dude.
Stannis'
Okay, I'm
daughter.
glad you got to this.
Dude, she's a war criminal.
Other than the
dude.
red wedding,
She's a war criminal.
that is the hardest thing to watch. When she's screaming like that, oh my God. People always say
Can
the
we talk
rape,
about-
the Ramsay's rape of Sansa is the hardest thing to watch.
No.
You don't even
No.
see it. First,
Nah, you
I
don't.
understand the concept. Like, yeah, that's pretty fucked up, obviously. But burning your own daughter and having us watch and listen to her screams.
well,
pretty
if
fucked up.
if,
I
if
like
people,
the scene, though, 'cause I
wait,
liked-
do people?
I like the point that they were making about like religious fanaticism,
How far
And-
you'll go.
Yeah.
belief, like what people would. I mean, I think they could have hit it a little bit harder, like with like showing the common people's lives, like the common soldier's life. But like when you're cold in the middle of the snow in the frozen tundra, and like what the primal part of you comes out, and what are you willing to do to like satisfy those fucking animal survival instincts?
Right.
Well, are we gonna burn our offspring? I don't know. Maybe we're gonna. I guess.
I
This,
guess
this
so.
witch says we gotta commit a war crime to get out of the snow. Okay, I guess that's what we're doing today. Fine. Big brain time. I fucking hated Stannis. Like flattest character.
Yeah.
Okay,
Dude,
but
he
but
hated
his
that show.
but his
You can
his
tell.
The
You
actor
can
who
tell.
played him,
Well,
he's like,
'cause-
he hated
well,
doing
probably
that.
because his character is terrible.
I was
Yeah.
gonna say,
So
and
you
his
can- I
and
can
his death
respect
is
that,
terrible
actually.
too.
Yeah,
his
they
death
don't even
is terrible too.
they,
I didn't even know he died.
They
so,
played Stannis hardcore.
Okay.
Stannis got played.
So when
They should have
he,
wrote him better. He was a
So,
terrible character.
I didn't think they actually killed him off.
Even young boy, like younger Baratheon, the other king, Renly, he even got a cool death.
Yeah.
Stannis ain't got a cool death.
So Stannis pisses me off, or his death pissed me off because like I legitimately thought he was coming back because he's
It's off camera.
the only like major character in the show that isn't shown him getting like brutally killed. Like every single character has a fucking brutal death. Like even one that's only in it for a couple episodes, they fucking get massacred. The one guy gets his fucking head caved in, and he's only in it for like 3 or 4 episodes. Like what the fuck? Like how on earth do you have a major character and his death is off screen?
I was
like,
really disappointed.
I no joke, thought he was gonna come back in a later season. Like even what's his name comes back in a later season.
The Hound.
The Hound.
That was whack.
They suggest that he was an off-screen death, and then he comes back for no reason too.
Okay.
But like,
Stannis
what
is
the
dead.
actual
Both
fuck?
situations, though, we have to bring up Bran is involved, and I cannot stand Bran's character because
Strong female lead.
No, not at all. Not at all.
Oh,
Wait, let's
She
go
dies.
Go through why
She
you don't
dies
like Brienne,
in the
'cause
books
I don't have a problem
right
with
after the
Brienne.
Red Wedding. She dies in the books at the beginning of season 4, the end of the 3rd book.
Brienne's character to me is disappointing because she's like too blinded by honor.
None
but
of
they
her
don't. But they also kind of like develop her in a way like she wants to be a knight, but she can't.
None of her shit with Jamie happens, other than when he gets his hand cut off, she's with him. Yeah, they're traveling together, and they both get captured, absolutely. But none of the shit after that happens. They don't fuck. They never have a romantic relationship.
Damn,
nothing.
I was disappointed. I actually liked her banging Jamie. I thought I was like, that's nice, good. She finally.
The scene in the bathtub happens.
She got the boy. She
where
got
you
the
learn
she got
all
her
of your
crush.
character
That's
development
good.
that you need to for Jamie.
I liked that she got with her crush at the end, but
No, she should have gotten with the.
That's not real love.
Well, I didn't want her to
gotten with the
I wanted to get with the
northerner.
Scotsman too.
She should have gotten with the fucking.
Dude, Torrin.
North.
my
She
Scottish
should have
brother,
gotten with him. He deserved it.
Redbeard?
That man.
Dude, that
yeah.
guy is such a badass.
Dude, he's a homie. We'll get into his character. We'll get into his
Woman
character.
going to be there.
We'll get into his character later. But that guy is the legit definition of just like a true homie that just is like living life, that just is like, you know what, I'll help
Is
you
that-
guys out
that-
because I like you.
That's a
Like,
crazy Dave of Game
he,
of
I
Thrones.
think,
No.
I think he might be.
No
I think he
comparison.
I
That's
don't
an
know,
inside joke.
dude.
The
Crash,
audience
if
doesn't
that's you watching, don't
the-
get
the-
any
the-
He
idea.
the
claims
audience
that he
doesn't know
does
about
claim
that.
to be Thrash.
Anyways,
He does claim
anyways.
to be Thrash.
I mean, anyways.
You know he's half
fucking
watching
hell.
while he's playing COD.
So you don't like Brienne because she's not in the books. She dies in the books. That's
But-
why you don't like her. 'Cause
yeah,
she dies.
None of her things. So
Okay. But her as her so let's take the show as its own piece then, and her character in the show as her own
Neither
piece.
of you have read the books.
What
Fine.
do you think of her character in the show?
If the books did not exist, fine, absolutely. It serves its purpose. It's there.
Okay.
I like her
She's a
character
decent
overall.
character.
I think she's
honestly
an
think
alright
it would have been.
I think she makes dumbass decisions.
Yeah.
And doesn't die for it.
I think what Brienne's
she's
arc
alright.
is missing is like indirecting, and there's like a personal or a public moment, a private moment, and a moment with another person. I think you never see her in private. You never see her by herself. You never see her like reflect on her actions.
True.
Or like
There's no
contemplate what
monologue.
she's gonna do next. And for a character who had as much screen time as she had, I think we needed that moment of reflection.
Her purpose is really to connect stories. She's going from, you have Joffrey dying in season 4,
Yeah.
and then Sansa fleeing with Littlefinger, and she's Cersei's connection to Sansa. She sends Jamie off to find Sansa, who in the books Jamie finds Brienne, who finds Sansa.
She is the creative character. She's the
She
one that
is.
links all the side quests together. She's the creative character in
She is.
Skyrim. Holy fuck!
That's
What?
Brienne of Tarth.
What?
I think they could have had a more coherent character with her if they had like some moments of reflection where she's like, okay, is all this like shit that I'm doing basically for this abstract idea of honor and like fealty to a house? Like she does so much shit just because she swore loyalty to Catelyn Stark,
Yeah.
and some of it doesn't make sense. And then her battle with the Hound doesn't make sense in the slightest. What would have been good is if she had some moments of reflection where it's like, okay, I'm not a knight. What am I? Is all this honor bound? I'm doing all this stuff about honor, but that's really a knight's game, is honor.
But that's her thing. That's her
But
thing.
I want to
is-
be a knight, and I feel like just a couple moments of reflection, even if there's no dialogue, the actor probably could have. She probably could have said it like through her expression. I think that would have like tied the character and her arc together.
Right.
Whereas without it, it does feel it's not bad, but it does feel like Brienne is just kind of like going wherever the wind takes her. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like this is the conflict that I have to deal with now because somebody higher than me said I have to go deal with it.
It's her becoming a knight, and
Yeah.
and that she wants that title, and obviously, I mean, the end of middle of season 8, we see it, and we see the culmination of that and how proud she is of it. But it's the title of knight, and it's also her oath to Lady Stark, Catelyn. And that's who kills her in the books is Catelyn. She comes back.
Ah.
Yeah, she comes back and hangs her because. So she's out looking for Sansa, and she runs into the Brotherhood Without Banners, and they take her back to their hut, and Lady Catelyn's there. She's called Lady Stoneheart in the books because it's like her spirit, and they're like hang her because she's serving Jaime. She's not looking for Sansa.
Mm.
She went back on her oath.
So, yeah.
But I liked her becoming a knight at the end. I thought that was good.
Yeah.
Yes.
Dude,
Right
the song
before
was pretty good.
an
The
important
music
battle.
throughout, I will say one of my favorite things about reading the books is the songs. I really look forward to and I really enjoy it's like, so each chapter in the book is entitled a different character. Robb, Catelyn, Tyrion. And you're viewing each chapter from their perspective and where they're at in the world right now. So I would say every other chapter has a song in it. And it's just so cool and so interesting to hear some of these songs. And you hear the big ones in the shows, like Reigns of Castamere. And, I mean, that's the Lannisters, like, theme song.
Yeah.
But Bear and the Maiden Fair, that's also a great one. And I think the show really did that justice in bringing that to life, the music aspect of it.
So we were talking about season 5, or
Yeah,
did we
let's-
even,
Season
like-
5.
Yeah, season 5.
John dies, right?
They go-
Okay, so
they
we're
go
just
to
gonna talk
Dorne.
about the season finale.
You see Dorne, right?
Yeah, Dorne is good.
Like,
Dawn
let's
is
talk
going
about
on.
how like
It's Dorne.
Dude,
How is
they
it Dawn?
all are saying Dawn with a weird ass accent.
Oh my
It's
god!
Dawn. Their country flag is like a sun or some shit.
Yeah, it's a sunspot.
They're all very sunny colored clothes. It looks like Spain. It's Dawn. Come on, you can't
Yeah.
tell me it's
Dorne.
Dorne.
anyway.
you hit your head on a Dorne knob? Like, come on. Like,
Hell
yeah,
no,
dude, I
Dorne.
tripped.
Um,
That's why I have this black eye.
so
Oh, shit.
season 5. Now, I just want to bring up how we've talked about so many characters throughout seasons 1 through 5.
Yeah.
And we have not brought up, like, probably the most, like, why does she exist?
Complex?
No,
Okay.
no, why does she exist?
Pointless. Okay.
Pointless. Like, her character's so bad.
Arya?
This isn't a diss to the actress at all, but fucking Daenerys is Like,
Yeah.
like we've been talking about. I just want to point out we've been talking about seasons 1 through 5, and we haven't brought up Daenerys.
Bro, that's
at
like the
all.
least one you could have picked out of all of them.
She's not good. She's not a good character.
I would.
This isn't a diss to the actress.
Agree.
This isn't a diss
Amelia
to the
Clarke's
actress.
great at-
The
pretty
actress
fucking good actress.
is amazing.
But she has a point.
But well, okay, she does have a point, but I don't know. Her character obviously isn't a good character. If we have forgotten to bring her up in the first 5 seasons of the
Well, she's
Right,
relatively small in the first 5.
She is.
she is, yes,
Let's
but
not forget that.
but it does say a lot that we have forgotten to mention her once.
Well, yeah.
It does. It
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 should
does.
say a lot about her character writing if we haven't brought her up once, just as like a point for like the character does have a point of being in the show, but her character as a whole, at least within seasons 1 even through 5, is kind of just like there,
What
and
I-
we kind of waste so much time of the show.
I will say,
like,
dude, it's
for her.
much more interesting. I would take her side stories any day over Bran's. God, that was so hard to watch. Him just floating from one area to the next in a chair with a guy.
But
who
his
says,
are
"Hold on."
his are shorter though. Like his are much.
Yeah,
much
he's
Yeah.
not in
shorter.
season 4 at all.
Like Braun's like stuff is like his is short. Daenerys has a thing in almost every single episode.
Right.
And we haven't talked about her. Like
Right.
just to
Yeah,
show you
I mean-
how dull her stuff is. We haven't talked about her, and
it's-
she's in almost every single episode.
So
I
like-
felt like Daenerys, like, her problem was lack of nuance. Like, it was like every conflict, almost every conflict that her in her storyline is just like, okay, I'm an idealist, I have dragons, I'm going to strong arm my opponent. I'm not going to compromise, I'm not going to outthink them, I'm not going to, like, wheel and deal, I'm not going to, like, pull the strong man card. And not until they get to
Tyrion comes and
yeah,
he convinces her
they
not
get, yeah,
to
they get to the
kill everyone like her dad.
yeah, not till they get to the city with the sun. They take over the city, and it's the Sons of the Hoppy or whatever.
The Marine, yeah.
Yeah, Marine, and she sets up her base camp there for a while, and has to actually sit down and rule. And that stuff I thought was, you know, pretty good because we were getting more
I
back
like
to the
that too.
politics. But the beginning of her story, like Peyton's saying, the first like 3-4 seasons is like. First 4 seasons is just her strong arming people. And
Yes.
It's just like, I'm not going to compromise. I'm not going to compromise. I'm not going to compromise. When literally the whole rest of the show is people like making compromises.
Yeah.
And it's like, what? This doesn't seem like it fits
Mhm.
with everything else, and it just doesn't really. I don't know. There are good parts of her story. Her
Yeah,
coming
oh,
out of the fire
definitely.
is
Yeah,
pretty
yeah.
cool.
Her brother.
I think it's her brother is like the king of cringe.
Yeah.
I think it's worth noting that like I think it's worth noting that like most fantasy is based in like Norse mythology in a northern European environment.
So it's
And-
nice to see a desert.
Yeah,
it's nice to see a desert.
Kudos to Martin for making a Mediterranean climate at least part of his fantasy world and part of his fantasy narrative.
And reasonable, like how people would be living in those
Yeah.
areas too. I will, yeah.
I'm a
those
huge
are
fan
good.
of Greek mythology and like
Wait.
you know history from around the world, like Mesopotamian history and shit like that. So like I did appreciate that. But the story that takes place within it
Eh.
is a little underwhelming.
Mhm. Do we have to say all of her titles anytime she's on screen? Like, do we actually have to waste 5 minutes saying
The
all
Breaker
her
of
titles?
Chains, Mother of Dragons.
Like, holy fuck, we get it. We don't need to say it every fucking time she's
That's
on
true.
screen.
There's not a lot
Like,
of
why do we do
en-
that? Oh, so much time
en-
wasted.
en medias res, en media res. I guess I don't speak French. En media res, en media ra, or however they say it. In the middle of things, damn it. You don't need to start out with Daenerys holding court, announcing her title, talking to the damn peasants. You can just cut to
every peasant,
the peasants.
every single one.
You can just cut to what the fucking peasant is saying. And her response. And the audience gets the idea. They
That's
cut
like,
out a lot of time doing that. Makes it's a lot more coherent. The audience is gonna like love it a lot more. And media raw.
It's so
Look it up.
It's so fucking
Okay, so
annoying.
end of season 6.
Well, season 5.
John.
Oh wait, we're still in season 5.
John gets shanked a bunch of times.
Well, because which we haven't talked about John either, which I think is actually another interesting
Well, this is
take.
this is the beginning of him. This is like
Season 5 is then we should talk about him.
yeah.
So like season 5 is the beginning. He has a bunch of side quests as well. John's an interesting character, but he's honestly a side character
until this point.
until season 5. And season 5 he starts doing his own thing. Now he's not doing anything in the main continent. He's doing everything up north, but it's a lot of interesting stuff. It really is a lot of interesting stuff with him like trying to ally with the Northerners, meeting up with the pseudo leader of the Northerners. You know, they don't have a leader, but they like kind of have like a leader.
He's their leader, but he's not a king in the traditional sense.
Yeah. He's
Mance.
sort of just like, hey, I'm going
Mance.
to Mance. I'm going to like help you guys out in terms of war. Otherwise, I'm just gonna let you guys do whatever the fuck you want. But
I
if you
really
guys,
like their system of government.
Yes.
I thought you would.
libertarian,
Primitivist.
primitivist. Okay, primitivist. Anyway, I like how like what John is doing, and John is doing a lot of good, and he doesn't know why. He's just doing it, and because he knows it's right, but he knows how to do it. He doesn't know why he's good at it. He doesn't want to be in the position that he's being put in, but he's good at it, so he just does it anyway. Because he knows it's for the greater good. Which I like a lot about John's character, because a lot of John's character is, I don't want to do this, but everyone else wants me to do it, so you know what? I will do it. Like, it's not out of choice, basically, is what I'm
Correct.
saying. A lot of John's character and what he does isn't by choice. It's sort of by, I don't want to say force, but
It's thrown upon him.
yeah, it's thrown upon him, and he just accepts it, and I really do like that. Because he doesn't do it in a stupid way either. Because anytime he's put into a situation, he hesitates, but then everyone else helps him along the way, and he's like, fine, I'll do it. And he does it really well, because he's being helped by multiple people. It's not just him. A true leader, because he's listening to everybody. Actually, he's taking everybody's advice and just putting everybody's advice together. So
My favorite thing about him is, as interesting as he is, and you're absolutely right, a lot of his responsibilities are thrust upon him, and he just kind of goes with it and accepts it. But as good of a leader as he is the hero's brute strength. He's the character. He's the Jamie for the bad guys. He's the Jamie for the good guys. Like when he's coming down, when the wildlings attack Castle Black the first time, and where his girlfriend dies.
yeah,
Gilly. So he comes down. He's on the top of the wall, and then he's coming down the shaft, I guess. He comes off, and dude, it's like he has the gravity of like Yoda when he's stepping off that thing. Like it's like you don't fuck with this guy, and I really appreciate that entertainment aspect of John, because we see it then for the first time, but then throughout his character, throughout the remaining seasons of Game of Thrones, he's always that skilled fighter.
Yeah, and they build upon him being a skilled fighter from the very beginning too.
Yep.
So it's not like he just is a skilled fighter out of nowhere.
For sure.
They do build upon how like he was sort of shunned by not shunned. He was shunned by some of the people in Winterfell because he was a bastard child.
Right.
So like a lot of this free time he spent training.
With Rob and
With-
yeah, we see
yes. Yeah, exactly.
Theon.
So yeah, a lot of his free time he spends training. So it makes perfect sense for him to be a well-groomed fighter.
Yeah.
Not gonna lie, gentlemen. I mean, everybody likes Rob or John.
John.
And he's like kind of the second half of the season. He is the protagonist.
Right.
I think I'm generally disappointed by him. He's a bit underwhelming. Like because like he's good. All the writing is fine. It's there. Not as good as it could have been though. I feel like we
In
needed
what
a lot
ways?
more like self-doubt in that character. I mean, he's like the bastard son of like the greatest, like the most honorable man in the kingdom.
Right.
He's like the one thing that guy supposedly did wrong.
Right.
And I don't feel like I got. He's like humble, sure, but I don't feel like I got the self-doubt coming through with the character and the writing. I don't feel
That's
like
all
I
he
got.
has at first.
I
is
know,
self-doubt.
because like every single time anything's given upon him, he always talks to Sam.
And he's like,
He's always
he's-
asking Sam, like,
I don't know.
I don't want to do this, and
It's-
Sam's
it's not
always
about
the one bringing him up,
Yeah.
being like, you need to do this, dude. Like, you're the only one that can do it. And that's throughout. I don't know. That's just like how he gets into position. Like, if it wasn't for Sam, like John wouldn't be becoming
I
like,
guess-
a leader.
I guess I don't feel like John made enough mistakes. Maybe, like he makes
so many mistakes.
he makes risky decisions, but they usually pan out.
Okay,
Like,
okay.
shit
I
doesn't
can
always
see.
go right for him, but the things that don't go right for him aren't things that he like made a choice and it went wrong. It's like I'm in a situation that's bad, not I caused this
The
situation.
choice that he makes
mean-
when he backs Daenerys and he refuses Cersei's thing of saying like, okay, well there will be no king in the north then, and you
Well,
won't
that's
take
later.
sides.
That's
Yeah,
later
it's-
on, and
it's
that's just
later
pure-
on. Let's
I'm sorry, that's just
we're
pure
talking
bad
about
writing.
up until season
but-
5, though. We're talking about.
Okay,
season,
all
let's,
right.
let's talk
I'm
about
talking
up until
mostly his
season 5.
character development
Well,
up until then. Like all the
Because
stuff he does.
his girl dies based upon his decision making.
Yeah,
He loses his girl, which is huge, and
But
he
I
can
also
never
kinda-
get that back.
I also kind of feel like that was.
He dies because of his decision making.
I also kind of feel like that was. I don't know. I feel like that's
Well, him dying.
him-
So when John dies,
him
at
dying
the
is him
end,
getting betrayed.
It's
and
not because he
those were
made
all-
the wrong decision.
It's like you
though.
It's
said.
not the wrong
those
decision,
things are
no.
all things being thrust upon him.
It's the unpopular.
Those are
decision.
all like the only choice he really had. I never felt like John had like a clear like moment of choice between two things. And
Him leaving Castle Black in season 1 to go
Yeah.
help Rob.
but that
And then he's, they convince him like,
But-
no, like you shouldn't, like you need to stay
His
here,
oath, yeah.
and he does,
and it works out though
and it-
for him. At
Okay,
least.
okay,
Like
Well,
he
saying
ends up
that-
fighting the Night King and shit. That's like a kind of a bigger issue.
but that's later.
also
on.
later.
That's later.
But like
on.
I don't know. I don't feel like there was like a lot of like points where like in Breaking Bad, it's constantly characters making choice and the fallout of those choices. I feel like most of the stuff that John goes through is things that happen to him. They get overrun by the wildlings in the north. So, and then the older crow says, "Hey, kill me to prove yourself to them." He has to do that. He has to go along with the wildlings for a while, even though it sucks. He doesn't have to like start the romance with the redheaded chick, but like
He falls in love with her.
he doesn't really like. It's not like why would you not? It's he doesn't like. I don't feel like there's a lot of times where it was like the two choices are evenly weighted, and he still makes the wrong one, and then there's fallout that he has to deal with.
He
know what I mean?
He reacts.
He's a
to
very
everything.
reactionary character.
He's a reactionary character.
A lot of things get put
Okay,
on him.
I see what you're
It's not that
saying
he's a
now.
bad character, but
I
I
get-
would have liked him to have to deal with the consequences of making
I see
a
what you're
specific
saying.
choice that like didn't pan out at all, and then pick up the pieces. Not I'm gonna like punish people and then they're gonna kill me, because then he comes back to life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay.
mean,
I,
you could
And
also
everybody
look
loves him
at-
because he's
I
the
get
guy
what
that came
you're
back to
saying.
life.
You could also look at him abiding by his oath and going back to the Night's Watch instead of going to help Rob as he lost his brother.
But it was still reactionary. Like,
I mean,
It was a choice he made to go back to Castle Black.
yes, it was a choice, but I get what he's saying. Whereas, like, everything a majority of what he does is based upon something happening and him reacting to it. Not like, hey, something's going to happen.
The majority.
So
of it.
let me
Absolutely.
make a choice, and then what does that choice lead him to? Which is literally every other character in the show.
Right.
Which is
Like,
kind of the definition of a drama versus. That's literally the definition of drama versus melodrama.
Yes. So I get what Ethan is saying. Whereas, like, a majority of what John is reaction based compared to everything else, which is kind of weird because, you know, you want to see the character make his own choice and have a consequence based upon that choice, whether it's a good consequence or bad. But when you're reacting to something happening, you kind of can assume what the consequence is going to be because you already know what the situation that he's reacting to is. Like John, like if John were to go after, like, Rob dies, if John were to go out there, right? Like, we know he's going to go to war, and we don't know exactly if he'll become a good leader or not, but we know he'll go to war. Bam. But what if he stays at Castle Black? Well, we know what's going to happen if he stays at Castle Black. You know what I mean? Whereas, like, oh, here's two decisions. We don't know what's going to happen because the thing hasn't happened yet. That's what Ethan's talking about.
There's a literary term. There's a definition of a literary term: drama versus melodrama. Melodrama is things are happening to the character. Drama is character like the plot is things the character chooses. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Melodrama is things happen to the character. Drama is the character happens to things.
Right.
So, like, Star Wars is technically a melodrama.
We're at an hour 50 minutes.
So we should hurry the fuck up.
Yes. So John dies.
Tyrion is drama. John is melodrama.
Right.
Yeah. So John dies at the end of season 5. Season 6, I thought I was kind of disappointed that they brought him back. I knew he got brought back to life. I kind of wish they brought him back later to try and, like, you know, like, oh, like, he's literally dead. They bring him back in the first episode of season 6. I kind of wish they would have, like, waited probably 2 episodes to make it seem like he's literally dead. In my opinion, if they really wanted to sell off that he was actually killed, but they didn't. So, like, I found that a little bit, like, I felt like they could have done that a bit better. Not that it's, like, the worst thing ever. I just felt like it might have been a better feeling to, like, holy fuck, he's actually, like, alive. Like, if he would have come back in, like, episode 3 or something. You know what I mean? You get that, like,
maybe
actual, like, he is
I feel like that's
dead.
I don't know.
But
I also feel like from a showrunner perspective, like the audience has been waiting a year to see if John is alive or not. Let's let him. Let's throw him a bone.
I
You know
guess
what I mean?
okay, I guess that's true. I'm coming at it from a perspective of, like, it's we're watching. We don't have to wait. We just immediately can jump into it. So I guess. Oh well, I guess we do have a perspective though. We do have an exact perspective on it. What did you think?
Of what?
What I just said. Coming from somebody that probably watched season 5 and 6 as they were airing.
Right. Yeah.
So, like, what did you think? Did you legitimately think he was dead?
Yeah.
Or...
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. No. So, Ollie goes in and he's all frantic and he tells the Lord Commander, "Hey, we found your uncle. He's here. Yada yada yada." I looked at my brother. I was watching with my brother. I was like, "He's gonna die. He's gonna die." And they take him out and he sees the traitor thing and they just start stabbing him. So, while I expected it, it was very, very heavy. I mean, obviously, we've gone through everyone that we've rooted for dying in the past. This was definitely a huge, huge, huge blow. But you have that some semblance of there's no one else. He's got to come back. I don't. I mean, whether it's episode 1 of the next season or episode 3, I don't know.
It wouldn't have mattered.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Okay. All right.
Um,
Then never mind. Then never mind. So.
but I will say I was extremely disappointed. The Battle of the Bastards is definitely. I like things about it, but there's definitely. It's kind of ruined in a way for me because the entire time I'm watching it, literally the first time that I'm watching it, I'm saying to myself, there's absolutely no way that he dies. Zero chance he dies here.
Who, John?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Because
Yeah,
it's
plot
like,
armor.
Yeah.
if
at that
he was
point,
going to
is
die,
plot
he was going to die at Hard Home.
Yes.
And this is just not the way he goes. Even when the scariest part of the fight when which I really like that perspective
Of him being
medieval
Mhm.
fights and
Yeah.
just the bodies just being piled on each other and he just can't breathe. I really like that perspective, but it's like, I mean, I think that he's gonna die here. It's not gonna happen.
I thought they played I thought the start of the battle was kind of like, I don't know.
With Rickon as the bait.
Yeah, yeah, so not with I understand the bait. I don't understand why John doesn't listen to his sister. Like he obviously knows that something's gonna happen.
Yeah.
So,
he's gonna
like-
try and piss him off some way.
Yeah, and it just is like I thought this is where to me the writing started to go downhill because it's just like John does take advice. John takes advice and takes it well. Him to take advice from his sister and then oh yeah, he's gonna bait you and try and do something extremely fucked up to you to get you to fight him. Oh, okay. There's there's literally everything that she explained to you. Oh, we're still gonna run in blind.
I agree with you.
Come on, John isn't that stupid.
Get money.
they-
That's good advice.
I agree with you, but that's also
John isn't that stupid. Come on. But not saying he wouldn't run after his brother.
that's his brother that he's shooting.
Yeah, I'm not saying that he wouldn't run after his brother and try and save him. That's fine. It's him going to it oh hey, now we're going to start the battle because he killed my brother. No, if your brother dies, John's smart enough to take the body back and let's bury him. And not start the battle yet because I know I'm
Hold off on the battle because we gotta bury my brother real
Well,
quick.
no, but I'm saying
quick.
he would
Real
fall
fucking
back
quick.
and change his tactics. He would fall back and change his tactics. That's what I'm saying.
Based
'Cause
on
he
him
knows
killing his
he's
brother?
outnumbered. Because he knows he's outnumbered. He's not going to do it. The whole point of them meeting up was for him to get his brother. That was the whole point. And then for his brother to die, he wouldn't go out there and attack immediately. He knows he's outnumbered. John
Alright.
isn't this stupid. John isn't that stupid.
Here's I think what the problem in the battle. You've got John who's been set up as supposed to be a smarter character, right? He is a good tactician. He's been in a number of battles already. And you've got Sir Davos, who, is more of a logistics guy, but, he's been in a lot of battles already too, right? And
One battle.
he's been in a few.
No, he was in the Battle of Backwater. That was his first one.
Is that the only battle
Well,
he's
Yeah,
in?
but anyways, that's
Okay, well,
neither here
besides
nor
the point.
there.
And he's got all the fucking wildlings who have fought, and they go through a lot of detail in previous battles to show you what the strategy is. They don't show you a strategy before Battle of the Bastards. There was no strategy there. It's just all right, we're gonna line up on this side and wait for the other guys to line up on that side,
Yeah,
and then
there
we're
was-
gonna
Because it's
run
just
at each
supposed
other.
to be him getting
But
his brother.
no, it's always been set up as a battle. They always knew they were gonna have to fight, and
There was
what
no
would've-
tactical.
Okay, yeah, true.
what would have
Yeah,
been like, okay, sure, you're talking about like Sansa saying like, yeah, Ramsay's is gonna try and like play you somehow. Yeah, she's right. What would have been better storytelling is if John has this like elaborate plan of how he's gonna get Ramses, and it's like, okay, because like we're outnumbered. We have to like plan. We have to get creative here. And then Ramses pulls out his wild card. I'm gonna let Bran run and take pot shots at him, and that fucks up John's plan. It completely fucks up John's plan, and now they're just in this fucking. Now they're just in this clusterfuck that ends up being Battle of the Bastards. It still goes the same way. It still plays out the same way, but you set it up where John had this like perfect plan of like, okay, we're gonna trap Ramses here, and Sansa's part of the planning stage too, because it's like a good character moment for the two of them. It's a good character moment for her, and it's like good for the relationship and the works. But without that setup, the payoff, the like Ramses trick just kind of feels like it's just like fucking like fluff. It's like, why am I watching this?
Yes, yeah. Okay, I agree. Yeah, that's my take on it. Yeah, I would agree with that. Basically, I think we all can agree Battle of the Bastards could have been a lot better.
But I do like
Could have been.
alliteration.
But Battle of the Bastards could have been a lot better though.
Yeah.
Like it really could have. It was solid. Solid. Much better than the Long Night. But much better than the Long Night. But we'll get to that later. So season 6. What else about season 6 should we talk about?
Season 7.
Season 7.
Spoils of War. Jamie.
Okay. I guess we should have brought this up. So season 7 and 8, we all know, especially season 8, we all know that those seasons are down. Season 8, we don't want to talk about too much because everything that we have to say, everyone already has said. It would be a waste of time even talking about it. Because like everybody, it is universally accepted that it's all awful.
Horrible.
It is fucking horrible. So we won't talk about season 8 that much because it's just bad. So season 7, really quick. Let's go.
Spoils of War. Jamie riding the horse to try and kill Daenerys in the open field, and Tyrion's like, "You fucking idiot."
So I did originally think that was stupid, but then Ethan brought up a big point. Jamie doesn't entirely care about his own life.
No.
He would definitely do that to end the war.
You kill that dragon, you're fucking set.
You kill the dragon or Daenerys. You kill
You're
one
set.
of them, you're golden. Like you are golden.
Any good leader would have done the same thing.
Yes. So originally I thought it was stupid, but
It's like
Ethan is
Eminem
right.
said, you got one shot.
Yeah. It was a smart decision to do that because if he does kill Daenerys there, it's over. Like that's it. Like you win. Like it's completely done. If you die in the process, so fucking be it. You just fucking won. So
Right.
and he doesn't care about his life. So
Yeah, it's just Braun's relationship with Jamie really. I mean, we saw it in season 5, but that whole episode. But let's talk about individual characters. So Jamie, arguably one of the most complex characters in the entire series. So we
could have been the character.
Well, we see him as this bad guy from the beginning, and we see those negative traits. But his character flaw. So after season 1, particularly season 3 is where we see the bathtub scene with Brienne, and that's where we see Jamie.
There always has to be a tub scene.
Well, oh my God, Jamie had this side of
Scene in
him
The Witcher.
where we see flashes of what could have been him, and the real side of Jamie as an independent person, who he is.
Yes, and it's great because he talks about
it's a lot of good.
why he killed the Mad King. He talks about why he killed the Mad King, and
it also spares Lady Tyrell. He shows her mercy instead of killing her. By the sword. In the end, he decides to poison her.
Yeah.
But
That's after they've already like ruined
Correct,
his
but
redemption
what
arc.
I'm saying is, throughout the seasons, you see who he is as an independent person, his true colors.
Yes.
But his character flaw, and this is where I argue with my brother because he's my brother's favorite character, is
I don't know how, but
is like he's really not that great person because his character flaw, his Achilles heel, is his love for his sister. And the fact that he does absolutely every decision that he makes is to get back with his sister
yes.
and
So
to make her happy. And like
I can buy that.
Lady Tyrell says it,
Yeah.
she's going to be the death of you.
Yes.
100%, yeah.
Yeah.
And she brings
So-
out the worst in you.
Yes, so I can buy that. I did buy it. I did buy it up until when Cersei, and I was talking to you about this the other day. I'm gonna repeat myself because we're talking on the podcast.
Yeah.
Up until Cersei blows up the fucking church
Right.
and kills hundreds, if not thousands, of people in the process of
But-
that, because Jaime killed the Mad King to not only save the people of King's Landing, but
The
he
Mad King
lost
wasn't his
everything.
sister.
He lost, but it doesn't matter though.
Who he
'cause
loved.
It doesn't matter though because
does.
no, it doesn't. It doesn't fucking matter because he lost his name. He dishonored his family, which he cares more about his father's name. He cares more about his family's name and father's name. He talks about that. He talks about how he,
Jamie?
yes, he
Not
talks
than
about.
Cersei. No, he doesn't.
No, yes, he does.
No, he doesn't.
He talk. Yes.
That's
you-
why he turns out the way he does. Because of
So,
his love for Cersei.
I can understand that.
He
but
doesn't care about anything else.
He does though. Like he does. There wouldn't be a point of showing it if he didn't. So, but no, like he disgraced his father's name, which to save like King's Landing because that's what he cares about. He does care about that stuff, and to me as like to me, what's the point of showing all this like purpose and showing that oh yeah, he will go back to Cersei from seasons 1 through 5 and then her blow up the king and then him just not even recognize that she blew up the king.
You
Like
mean
blew
the
up
church?
There's
the
no
church.
conversation
Yeah. Like
of...
there's nothing.
Yeah.
There's absolutely nothing. Like if you want me to buy that he will stay with Cersei over anything, there would still be a conversation for it.
Right.
There isn't though.
Like,
There
yeah.
isn't. Like I'm sorry, like there is no closure. There is no closure. I do not buy it. I do not buy that he does only care about Cersei. Because if he did, he would still bring that up, and there would have been a conversation.
There definitely should have been a scene.
I
like,
do not
you just
fucking
killed
buy it.
thousands of people.
Yes,
Like, what the fuck?
I do not fucking buy that his love for Cersei is greater than everything else. I do not buy it. I do not buy it. I especially with how much like he literally disgraced his own father, which he talks about his love for his father with Tyrion.
He does,
Like
absolutely.
not countless times, but a number of times with Tyrion and other people. Like he talks about it. His father taught him how to fucking read, even though he has fucking dyslexia.
Right.
Like he talks about it and he talks about how happy it made him, like, and how good of a person that it made him. And then like for him to disgrace his father by killing the Mad King, like
He didn't disgrace his father by killing the Mad
he
King.
he disgraced the name of a Lannister. The
The
Lannisters are
Mad King
looked at.
literally told Jaime to kill his father. His father was coming to his father was coming to attack the capital with all the Lannister army. And he's like, you need to go out there and kill your father.
No, it was Rob's. It was
No.
it was Robert Baratheon and Ned Stark.
No,
that were
no,
coming.
no. It was the Lannisters at the
I mean, it was all
Lannisters
of
at the
them.
capital.
Oh,
gate.
it was all of them.
Yeah.
It was.
It
I
was
know
all
it was the
of them? Oh,
Lannisters
okay,
at
okay,
the
okay.
capital, at King's Landing, and he's like, go out there and kill your
I mean,
father.
either
And he's
way,
like, I won't
he's
kill my
still
father.
either way he's still
Yes,
seen
that's
as the
true, yes.
Kingslayer. Either way, he's still seen as a Kingslayer.
Yes,
and
because
an
he told him to kill
Oathbreaker.
his dad.
Well, either way, he's still seen as a Kingslayer and the
So,
Oathbreaker and
I
a bad
think-
human being and somebody that you can't trust and hence you can't trust a Lannister. Which is talked about throughout the entire show. He did disgrace his father's name. He
Not
did
in that
disgrace
act,
Lannister.
but he did in other ways. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Either point being, though, I do not buy that his love for Cersei is greater than everything else because he does choose to save
I think
people.
my issue is I kind of think what you guys are trying to hit at, or like the larger, like the issue in the framework of the way the story is laid out, right? They there's a distinct narrative symmetry between what the Mad King was going to do to King's Landing
And Cersei.
during the siege and what Cersei does to the church.
Yeah.
And we've all picked up on it. The characters in the show should have picked up on it as well. And somebody, probably Brienne or Bronn or Tyrion, somebody, should have pointed that out to Jaime. There should have been a conversation between
Yes.
somebody and Jaime. And if that isn't his come to God moment, then that changes our theme.
Mhm.
You know, if that's his come to God moment and he's like, "Oh shit, okay, I need to like I can't love this person anymore because she's literally become what I killed."
Or
We do
or
see-
or
if
he goes
stays,
back
if
to
he stays
Cersei.
with her,
Which he does.
that's a different story then.
Mhm.
And the story then is about what the cycle of abuse is.
We do see
Because
in
like
multiple different
she
ways.
abuses him in multiple ways.
Oh
Yes,
my
yes,
god,
she's,
yeah.
she's
Yes,
got his
we-
like
we
she's
see
got
that.
like his mind
Oh my
like
god,
so
yeah.
wrapped around.
Yes.
But I don't think, and you see that, but I don't think they really finished that part of the story.
Right.
That part of the story doesn't feel like it's completely fleshed out.
Yeah.
Like if he doesn't break away from it, if he's still her puppet by the end,
Mhm.
they didn't really tell it as well as they should have. I don't think they like.
There should
I
have
don't think
been
they
him.
sold that well.
Yes.
I think it needed to be less of like, I love Cersei, or like, I have to be with her, or like, maybe I'm not making any more. Maybe I'm still not making sense. But I think him going back to her even after she blows up the church
It doesn't
and
matter what she
their
does.
youngest
Yeah.
kid kills himself,
Exactly.
and I think we at that point are now talking about an abuse story.
Oh,
and
absolutely.
What's wrong with Jaime's head?
But they don't talk
And
about
I
it.
feel like that needed to be doubled down on
Mhm.
in the story.
And it would have been
like-
a great theme.
And I
it
think
would have been
we
great.
needed to see more of Jaime like genuinely being afraid of her, which we do see. We do see it, but I think we need to see it more. And like him,
Dude, remember when
I don't know.
Jaime leaves
He's-
King's Landing in
Yeah.
it's season 8 or end of season 7, and she threatens to kill him right there in the
Yeah.
Yeah.
on the map thing,
It's-
and he's
yeah.
like, "You won't do it."
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's like like what she does to him is like horrible. I think he maybe needed to be. By the end of it, he should have been more submissive, maybe, to like really show what all she had done to him, if that makes sense.
Like
Or-
basically all the conversations
It just
with
doesn't all fit. It's like they were
Yeah.
trying to have him have a character arc and a redemption arc, but also trying to show how much
He's
she had.
independent, and he has this.
But like
his
he's
himself.
not independent by the end.
Right,
of it.
right.
It's like they
But
were
what
trying to
I'm
have it
saying
both
is
ways, and
they
they didn't
try
get
and
it
show
either.
that
Yeah.
through. Oh, I'm gonna kill the king because it's the right thing to do. We're showing several different paths of this is who Jaime is, and this is who he would be if his sister didn't exist and he didn't fall in love with his sister,
Right,
and his
right.
sister didn't control every aspect of his being.
I
Right.
think Jamie's the most like had the potential to actually be. I can understand why people. Like, he could have been the best character in the show. He could have been the true redemption arc character, or the true the true fall character.
True can't be redeemed.
Yeah, the truly can't be
Like,
redeemed
refuses
character.
to be redeemed.
He could have been like a really well done way, but he never gets to that point, and it's because of the writing. Like
I think by the end of it, instead of him just trying to save Cersei at the end, we needed to see him go maybe full on balls to the walls, like killing innocent people for
Yes.
Cersei by the end to
Yes.
show
That
that he
he-
had completely gone the other way.
Yes.
I
Yeah,
think that
I
think
agree
that
that.
would have is what I would have
Because
sold it for me.
no joke, in the middle,
You know what I
like
mean?
in season 8, not only do we see him leave Cersei to go save people, we also see him go back
back
and
to
then
her.
die with Cersei. Even though it's like, which is just so counterintuitive, because he just is like, he just ends up being able to get the best of both worlds every time. Like,
See, I don't.
like,
the
what the heck?
counterintuitive
Getting-
part doesn't
he's-
bother me.
He's not getting.
I don't know.
The counterintuitive part doesn't bother me. Him going back to her doesn't bother me.
Oh
What
yeah.
I needed to know is that, like, he's going back to her, and that's it. That's the last time. He's always going to be with her now, and he's a much worse person for it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Not like, because like, I needed to know that he relapsed, and he's never getting clean again. That's what I needed to see from that.
Yes.
from
Yeah,
that.
yeah. Yeah.
And
yeah.
it happens too late as the world is falling apart for us to get that story.
Yes.
It should have been that he was with her for a lot longer, and then they die.
Yeah.
Not just he finds her when they're about to die.
I do.
Also, her
I
death
do
is
like.
super unsatisfying.
Yeah, but that's
Yeah.
but that's in part with the season 8 all
Yeah.
being bad. This is all stuff that everyone agrees with and everyone has talked
A
about. We
building
don't.
coming down on her is way too quick.
Yeah. Like, and it also should have been Tyrion. Anyway, this is all stuff that like everyone has talked about, so we don't need to repeat everything else. Let's talk about the other stuff. But yes, I do like the idea of like Jamie being like, oh yeah, like I'm gonna kill innocents for Cersei, like that, like just civilians, like I'm gonna kill civilians and innocents for Cersei
He does.
to truly show that he's like, okay, yeah, you are like unredeemable now.
He kills his cousin when he's in captivity to get back to her.
But that's
I
at
mean,
that's at the beginning of his arc.
And
we
that's
needed
not only to
see
get
him,
back
like,
to
go
that's
back
not only that's not
to-
only to get back to her, it's also to not be a captive to not just her but their dad, and to go back to being like a general, because that was mid-war and he was a major general to the to the war. Like it wasn't like, yes, he talks about how it was for Cersei and
Right.
it was, but like there's a lot other aspects going on, like
but not to him.
huh?
Not to him. That's the whole point. Yes, there are.
But
yes,
I
there
just
are.
don't-
He could be used as a general. He could be. His father sees him in many, many different ways, as many
I think
different
you're both
I
valuable
just don't-
missing the
assets.
point.
He doesn't. He
You're
just
Yeah,
sees him
I
for
just
his-
don't-
missing the point.
yeah,
Him killing his
I just
cousin
don't buy
is
it.
at the beginning of his character arc.
Yeah.
That one is when he's
I'm,
still a
I,
bad
I
person.
agree with you. He could have killed other civilians. I do think him dying with Cersei is the only way he should have died.
I'm
Oh,
saying,
well,
I'm saying
okay, yeah,
that's
yeah.
fine. What
Yeah.
I'm saying is, at the end, we needed to know that he was just as bad of a person as he was at the beginning. Like,
Yes.
he
Yeah, yeah,
becomes
yeah.
a better person, but then he like only comes down a little bit. We need to see him come the whole way down.
Like back
and, like,
down to that
like,
point of
push
like
another-
killing like a
I
push
cousin.
another kid out of another tower. You know what I mean?
Yes, yes,
something
yes,
worse.
yeah, yeah,
that
yeah,
Pushing
Yeah,
another
that's
kid
how
out of
deep-
another tower.
That's how deep in Shia had
That's my
hit,
favorite
like
part of this.
how deep in like they were together. You know what I mean? Despite all the good things he went through, he was still that's how deep it was.
Can we talk about like actual true irony though? How like seriously, how he like pushed Bronn out of the tower and then his son died by falling
Oh,
out of
dude,
the
I
tower.
didn't even think about that.
Can-
That's
Can we
pretty
talk
good. I
about
like
like
that.
a true irony?
I like that.
His son,
Jamie's?
The youngest one, yeah.
King. That's still his
Oh,
son.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like,
I mean, he
how
yeah,
he
committed
dies.
suicide, Tom,
Yeah, and by jumping out of a
Tom,
tower. Can we
right.
talk about like actual like
I like
that was like
I didn't even think
re-
about that. That's
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, you didn't? I
Yeah.
thought that was like really good like writing. Actually,
I mean, I
how,
like
like
the scene how it's just like he sets the crown down. It's just one shot. That's
he
the one.
walks away,
That-
pauses,
that shot was
comes.
good.
away.
He
That shot
walks
was- that
away,
one shot was
pauses,
good.
and then
See
there's
ya.
nothing, and then he comes back and just
Whoop.
with the church burning in the background, like that was actually that was really well done. Any
Kind of like it.
Another really complex character, not as complex, I would say, as Jamie, but Theon. Are you guys team
Theon-
Theon at the end?
Theon. So
Does he
I'm not.
redeem himself?
So I thought that was actually the best part of season 8, and actually like a good part of the entire show. Actually, was his death, except for the fact that he ran charging. That like I felt like obviously you're gonna get fucking like instantly death if you go charging after the Night King. That's just choreography though, not writing. But no, him talking like him defending Braun and Braun telling him you are a good man, I thought was actually like what like that is so good. That was good writing. And that was the perfect person to for him to talk to for his end
Brand. Yeah.
like was to Braun, because like Braun was the true person that he betrayed, and for Braun to forgive him is like actually like really like okay, yeah, like Theon is ready to go. Like I thought that was a
I
good
like that
way.
a lot too. I just wish it had been like all the people are closing in on him because it doesn't actually feel like he like saved Bran.
Yeah, exactly.
Like
Yeah,
it would have been more cathartic if it was like a direct one-to-one correlation.
Yeah, he
where
definitely didn't save him. It's just
He
a
just runs.
symbolic. I'm giving up my life for you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Like that, which is what I meant. Like that's more choreography, though. Like
I mean, they write the core. I mean, that's. I don't know.
okay,
They
yeah,
write what happens in the action slug, but
yeah,
I mean, that could have been better. It was good, but could have been executed a lot better.
yes, yeah. Like if the Night King would have like if the Night King were to come at him the entire time, and he was just like fighting him off rather than Theon attacking the Night King, like him defending
Or-
would have been better rather than attacking.
We set this
Yeah.
like set it up in some way where Bran is like making his escape, and Theon's like holding him off. I don't, something to that effect.
Yeah, something other than what happened. Do we talk about the long night really quick or no?
It was terrible. It was dark. It was too hard to see.
But not even
What
too
other
hard to
topics?
see. Like, why are they outside of the wall in the first
The
place?
tactic, so
Like,
the tactics
like-
in the Long Night are there's a lot about the Long Night that is like akin to Battle of the Bastards. It's just like the lack of tactics. You
Yeah.
have a great castle for holding off sieges. Castles are literally made to hold off sieges, and you don't do that.
I mean, they did make the pit of fire. And
But why are they
why
in
is
front
there-
of the pit
Why are
in
they
the
in
first
front of the pit of
place?
fire? Why is there only one pit of fire?
Yeah.
Like why
There
not?
would be multiple
Why
pits
not
of fire.
draw? Why not
Multiple.
draw? Yeah,
It's
there
around the
should've
whole
been.
perimeter of it.
Why not
Yeah,
draw
but
the
multiple,
White Walkers?
like multiple.
Oh, I
ones.
gotcha.
Like like not just one layer. It would be
Ring,
multiple.
yeah.
Why not draw
multiple
the White
rings,
Walkers
yeah.
into a pit, then light it on fire?
Yeah.
And that way they can't just all lay down on it and put it out. Why not? You're surrounded by woods. The woods look like they were made out of pine. Pine is highly flammable.
Oh my God.
They've got a damn dragon. They got 2 fucking
Burn the
dragons.
trees
Dude, I
while
would've
they're
started
like
a
in
forest
the
Burn
fire.
the pine.
Yeah.
Forest fire. That's what I would have done. Yeah.
Yeah,
Fuck
you have
yeah.
a fucking dragon
Pine.
that can blow up walls. Like,
Pine
why don't you?
resin. Pine
They can
resin is
blow
a
up
big deal.
fucking walls.
Pine resin. That's tar right there.
Ethan, all right.
Like you
The
the lack
pine
of
resin.
like logical thought put into that battle. Also, when that scene, I've said it to you guys already, but I'm gonna say it for the record. When that bit where John is like bumbling around in the castle, everything's going to shit all around him, and he's like
The
he's
shot is
looking
terrible.
he's looking at people, and then they cut to like what each one of the Avengers is doing as they're getting
The
overrun.
Avengers.
It should have been one take. It should have been a long take.
It should have been all one
It should
take.
have been
It would
one
have been
shot.
so sick. It
Steadicam
would have been
technology is
so
very impressive
sick.
these days.
Oh,
Steadicam operators, they're an important part of the industry.
it would have been
It,
so sick.
it would have been a great choreography moment. It would have been a real good way for the director to like flex his muscles, and like watching John walk through the actual set of the castle, Winterhold, would have been
Winterfell.
great, and you're choreographing like 10 different characters getting overrun by zombies at once, and he's just overwhelmed. The cut gives the audience's mind a break. When you have it one continuous camera move, that's one stream of conscience, that's one reality, that is how you overwhelm the audience. That's how you make the audience feel just as overwhelmed as John is in that moment. Watch Birdman. Like, fucking, that movie's overwhelming as fuck. Michael Keaton, just like, shit's going down left and right the whole movie, and it's a drum beat the whole time. That you could have done. That's how you get the overwhelming nature of the scene, and it's just a huge missed opportunity. You had the budget, you could have done it.
Yeah. But not only that, though, tactics aside, okay, and that aside, can we talk about how, like, they show off that the glass kills the zombies in literally one hit, yet yet they're fucking getting destroyed by the zombies? Like, what? You're telling me you can't slash like they show off Arya literally killing off, like, 20 zombies by just literally slicing them once. You're telling me everyone else isn't going to be able to get one slash into these zombies?
The magic system was not very well defined.
It makes no sense. The fight would have been way more, like, evenly sided if the zombies only took one hit to die. Like, not even one hit. It's just like one slice. Like, you don't even, like, it may, like, how Arya kills them makes it seem like that they can just get fucking sliced in the arm once with the glass and then just die. What was the whole point of getting everyone glass with the dragon glass if it wasn't gonna fucking do anything? Like, what was the whole point of that? That's just bad.
Also,
like,
they put a lot of dragon glass on the battlements and on the damn, like, pikes sticking out of the ground, which makes sense why they did that, but, like, don't do that until after everyone already has weapons made out of it.
The reason
So,
why
like, there should have been no reason anybody was using a regular steel sword.
Yeah. The reason why I wanted to talk about the Long Night is because I've have people tell me that a Long Night is better than a battle at Helm's Deep in Lord of the Rings. Yeah, no. I'm not, like, memeing you. I've legitimately had people tell me that.
If
and
anyone,
it's like,
that would be me, and I know it's not.
Yeah, like, I've legitimately had people tell me this, and I'm just like, okay. This is before I had watched it, and I'm like, okay. After I've watched it, I'm like, these people are fucking idiots. Like, there's no fucking way you've actually
Put
watched.
it nicely.
There's no fucking way you've watched Lord of the Rings and tell me that Battle Helm's Deep is not as good as A Long Night. There's no fucking way. Long Night is fucking trash. Like in so many ways.
Yeah.
So many ways. But anyway, what else? Although the best scene in the entire show,
favorite
is
scenes.
the best scene in the entire show is in The Long Night when the fucking when the giant zombie comes breaking through and the little girl is just like standing there and the big zombie giant just is like, BAM! Like, just bitch slaps her across the fucking, like, all the fucking yard. Like, we literally paused it and laughed for a good, we literally paused it and laughed for a good 5 minutes. Because somebody wrote that in and thought it was a good idea. That got greenlit, and
Somebody
was-
wrote that in thinking it was going to be really, like, deep and brooding and, like, a big shocker that they killed a little girl, and it just was silly.
it was just so fucking
so
funny.
slapstick.
Oh, it was so funny.
I
I
was
was
like,
like,
am I watching Zombieland again? Like, what is this?
it did, yeah. It did. It felt like a clip from Zombieland or something. Like, oh my god,
It's like
so
cartoon humor.
we literally paused it and we're laughing for a
The only
good
thing that
5
could have made that
minutes.
better was like a
actually.
really silly sound effect.
It basically sounded like it because he does like hit. Dude, if they would have done the Wilhelm scream, like.
Or like the sound like cats make if they like trip and fall off something, like. Yeah.
Wilhelm scream. Dude, imagine the Wilhelm scream after she gets hit, though. Like,
Imagine like the smash sound effect whenever you hit a character off the map in Smash.
All right, Ethan, favorite scene.
Oh shit, I had one.
You
Do you
go.
want me to? All right.
Are you gonna say probably a courtroom scene? Because obviously.
No. Favorite scene. It's we talked about.
Yeah,
It's
we
right
did, we
after
did.
that. So favorite scene is definitely
when
when Tyrion they just had his
he's talking.
combat by trial or trial by combat,
Mhm.
and he's down in the cell awaiting his death, and the Viper comes down, Oberyn, and just tells him the story about when they went to meet him for the first time and how disappointed he was at Castle Rock when he saw him because his sister made him out to be this huge monster, and
He was just
looked like a baby. And at the end, he tells him he'll be his champion. And my favorite thing about Game of Thrones are those scenes. The scenes where you like feel the weight of absolutely every. It's like when Jaime comes to see him in his cell before the trial even begins, before he's put on trial.
Mhm.
They don't talk about anything. They just sit there and talk about their one, specially mental cousin who sits there and thumps beetles with a rock.
Yeah.
And you just feel the connection between these two brothers as they talk about absolutely nothing. Easily my favorite thing about the TV show is just the gravity of those conversations between. I mean, it's the acting, it's it's everything.
So like legitimately, obvious. So I would say the courtroom scene is the best scene in the entire show, but my favorite scene is probably when. Oh my goodness, his the bald guy. Fuck.
Ferris.
Varys. Is when Varys is talking to Tyrion. He has this box, right? He has this box in his fucking room. Just this giant ass box in his room, and he's talking to Tyrion about how he got when he got cut, right?
Mhm.
And then he's like, I everything I've done was not only for the people, but I knew one day I would get my revenge. And then they open up the box, and it's the guy who fucking cut him. Like, oh, that scene is actually my favorite scene in the show. Like, if we're talking about like legitimately, because that scene is also foreshadowing as well. Because he not only captured the guy in a box for to get his revenge, but he also got the box to for Tyrion's escape. Like Varys is a fucking madman genius. Like he is so fucking smart. Every little thing he does, including getting the box for his revenge, wasn't just for revenge. It was to have Tyrion escape because he knew he would have to save Tyrion after because he knew he would have to go to trial at some point. So wow,
The same can be said for his counterpart, Littlefinger. I mean, if not more for Littlefinger.
Yeah. Littlefinger is an amazing character as well.
Yeah.
Even up until the very end, Littlefinger is a phenomenal character. But anyway, favorite scene.
Dude, I'm kind of drawing a blank.
I'm surprised it's not like a Littlefinger scene or something.
I was thinking about the bit when Littlefinger puts the knife to Ned's throat, and he's like, "I told you not to trust me."
Yeah.
It's a little cliche, but I liked it. I don't know. I'm having trouble of thinking of one.
While you're thinking, another one of my favorites is, so you had talked about, you hit the nail on the head, Ethan, when you were talking about Ned and his morals and how he has this reputation of just this most honest character, and his one flaw was cheating when he was away at war.
Oh yeah,
and then he comes back with this kid, and the entire time, you have this uneasy feeling of that just doesn't add up. And every time it's brought up in conversation, either Catelyn brings it up, something like that, he gets super weird about it and like obviously uncomfortable. And you just think it's because, well, yeah, because he cheated on his wife and he brought home this child from war. And then you find out it's not his child, and he sacrificed his reputation for his sister, and it was just, I mean, even his wife doesn't know. Like, he doesn't tell his wife.
Yeah.
And his wife resents John so much, and he just lets it be because he's protecting his sister, and he's protecting John, obviously. But yeah.
So I do like that for the character of Ned. I actually don't like it for the character of John though, because like I like the idea that John is a nobody.
Right.
That
now it's a story like every other.
and now
Yeah.
it's your stereotypical he's the
The-
heir to the
The
throne.
secret
Like,
royal trope
come
is one of the
on.
worst fantasy tropes
like
there is.
which
Possibly the worst.
even that trope they could have done better, but that has to
And-
partake with them just
I-
rushing things for
I
in general.
liked
But
that Ned had one character flaw,
yes,
and that he cheated on his wife in a war.
yes,
I'm like, you know what? He's not
You get
Mr.
one.
Perfect.
yeah. You get one.
You're
You
right.
get
You're
one.
right. It didn't add up, but I like the idea that
It
he fucked up.
humanizes him.
It
Like,
does.
it
I was like, all right,
humanizes
so
him.
even like the Paragon good guy character is like a little bit fucked up in this show, and then they just flushed that down the toilet.
They not only flush that down the toilet, but then they also just bring the whole the secret child trope, or
The
whatever.
secret royal.
The secret royal trope, and they take away, like, they make it seem like that the heir to the throne is so important throughout the entire show, when like they could have changed it to be like, no, even though John's whole point of like a character is that he brings people together even though he's a nobody, and then, oh well, wait, he is a somebody. Like, come on, it would have been so much better to make a nobody a somebody. Like,
But at that point,
like, or not, we'll see, not to make a nobody a somebody. It would have been so much better to make a nobody have the capability of becoming a ruler.
Mhm.
Like, that would have been so much better rather than make a nobody a somebody. Like, I think that would have been so much better of a theme, personally. So.
at least we do know, because up until that point we had no idea that he was royalty. So at least we do know he didn't need that in order for people to follow him. He does have the
that
qualities
is-
of a leader. It's just, oh, well, now you were meant to lead.
Yeah, which is true, but they didn't need it. So like, what's
Yeah,
if he was already having those tropes, what's the point of even making him the ruler, the true heir anyway? Like, what's the point then? Like, like to add conflict with Daenerys, like, I don't know, Daenerys is already starting to look psycho, so like there's already conflict there.
I think
so you
it-
don't need that conflict. You don't need that artificial conflict because the
All right.
conflict's already there. Anyway,
This is maybe not my favorite scene. I hadn't really like tried to deduce
Oh,
it,
here we go.
but scene that I really enjoy is the scene before in season 3, I think, where
Ooh, shiver.
Tyrion tries to pay. Tyrion gets he's secured the bag, and he's giving Shay the bag to go, like the bag of money to go away and like start a new life. And she's like, yada yada yada, I don't want to start a new life without you. He's like, well, this is the only life I want to have, is the life here. It's like right after he's supposed to or engage to Sansa or marry Sansa or whatever
Right.
the fuck, whatever order that happens in.
mhm.
I don't know. I thought that the dialogue in that scene was really well written and well performed, and
I do too, especially with Tyrion, because like that was like a true character, because like he doesn't care about having a love. His love is for the politics. His love
no,
is
it's
for.
not that he doesn't care about having gold.
Yeah,
I think
'cause he
I
does
think
care
I think
Well,
Shay
he
was
does.
I think Shay was the first girl like that he actually felt like loved him back.
Okay, yeah.
After his
No,
wife.
no, the
yes.
first girl that he believed loved him
Correct.
back,
Mhm.
and like after that, that time, the first time he like paid, like Jamie paid somebody to love him,
Correct.
right? Like,
Yeah, no, that's
But
a
no,
good
no,
scene.
I would agree. Yeah, that scene.
I would
is
say all of
really
his scenes
good,
with
is
Shay are terrifically written. I mean, their
Yeah.
relationship was
Well, it's
from when they meet in the tent at the war on the battlefield with Braun, and they play that game, and he tells him about how Jamie paid all of their stuff is well written together.
I do too. And I'm glad that they do that because the payoff, the payoff is so like overwhelming. Like when she does betray him, it's
Yeah,
like
when he's
that
on
that,
trial.
and then he kills her too. Like, oh my, I that is. I don't know what was harder to watch. Like I don't know what was harder to watch. Like her like betray him, or him walking into the bedroom and her like
Realizing
saying,
it's her.
well,
My
not only,
lion.
well, yeah, not only her like being in the bed with his dad, but her saying the thing
She called him.
she called him. Like, bro,
Yeah,
oh my
yeah.
god, that's so fucked.
Yeah.
So fuck, so good. It was so fucking good.
So bad it's good.
It was so like heart wrenching.
We-
It was so like such a dark thing to see. It was so fucking good.
We should
It
wrap
was
this
so
up.
good. We should wrap it up.
Um,
So I think talking about our
Yep.
favorite scenes actually
It's
is
a
a
good
good
way.
way to end it.
I kind of wish
Um,
we had talked about like the whole theory of how they could have ended season 8 when or done Daenerys' descent into madness. But I mean,
There's
There-
literally
yeah.
hundreds of those videos like out there. Like
Yep.
people talk about how they could have done it. I'm sure we're not the only ones to have the same ideas.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
everyone talks about those. So I think this is a good way to end it. Talk about our favorite scenes because there are good things in the show.
Daenerys is a Stalinist, clearly.
Yeah.
Stalinist.
But all right. Good job. Good
talk.
coming. Good talk. Good way to come back.
Let's get this going in 2021.
We'll see if we're gonna come back either next week or the next 2 weeks. Probably the next 2 weeks, more than likely. We'll figure out what we're gonna talk about next, and I'll hopefully upload those videos this weekend. The rest of the videos this weekend.
Hopefully.
All right.
Hopefully.
Oh boy, I'm off all weekend,
Yeah,
so
so you will.
I will. I will when I'm recovering from Friday's party on Saturday.
Well,
I'll
Peyton,
I'll
just,
wait.
you know what? Just tell everybody what the fuck we're doing. Why don't
Hey,
you?
what-
Tell them
what
my
the
whole
fuck
goddamn
is-
schedule.
Hey, yeah.
Thanks for tuning in to the. Thank you for.
See you,
yeah,
Thrash.
Thanks for returning to the shit
He's
show.
been gone probably.
Peace.
All right. Peace out, boys.